Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to GameFace, episode 489, right here on SIFTD at SIFTD.net. And I don't know about y'all, but it's a heater here in LA, man. It's definitely heating up, Matt. How are you doing this week?
All right. It's 83, by the way. It's not super hot.
Yeah, I know. We're just spoiled living here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm from the East Coast where like 105 with 97% humidity was the norm for like 3 months of summer. But I have definitely changed in my 20-some years of living in California at this point. My blood is thinned or whatever they say.
Yeah, well, it used to be... it used to be in the 90s to 100 this time of year here.
Yeah.
When we first moved here.
October now is like the hottest month, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. But it is hot here for me anyway. You can see I'm wearing shorts today. Again, I hope I don't blind you guys or blow out one of our cameras with my white legs, because it's so fun. It seems like no matter how much time I spend outside now, my legs will never get tan. They're just white, like shockingly white. It's really hilarious and kind of sad. But I think I may not be, I think I may be a part of the crew when we're talking about that. I don't know if there's a lot of people on our stream right now that have really tan legs.
Maybe not.
just gonna put it out there.
Not unless they're naturally that.
Right. Or spray tan.
I suppose.
Which I think is less likely than having a real tan
if you're local.
Among our audience.
If you're local, I guess.
Well, welcome to GameFace, episode 489, right here on SIFTD at SIFTD.net. I am Shane Satterfield, your humble host, along with Matt Keil here for the next few hours of awesome games discussion. This episode is caught a little bit in the middle of like some cool weeks. So last week we had some big stuff to talk about. Next week we have Halo Campaign Evolve. We have Splatoon Raiders, which I don't know if you saw the reviews for that. This gets scoring really high. Like you got a 9 from IGN and a 9 from Shack News, which, okay. But we're covering that in next week's show, along with Halo Campaign Evolve, which is a remaster of the Halo campaign for all platforms. But this week is kind of in the middle, but I'll just be honest with you. We actually have a few games in this episode that I'm glad we have the time to talk about, because they're kind of like smaller-ish games, but there's something about all three of them that, at least to me anyway, make them something worth checking out. And I do think that's part of our job here, Matt. People all know God of War Laufey is going to be a cool game. They're going to pick it up. People know that probably Halo Campaign Evolved is going to be cool if they like the first Halo. But I do think it's a little bit of our job to do the work to try to find like the smaller games that are really cool and kind of bubble them up here on the show. I think that's what this episode is kind of going to be about. We have 3 really cool games that you may not have on your radar right now that I think you will after we talk about them. And then we're going to talk about Bethesda because it's so funny. I mean, I don't know if Bethesda thought it was being sly or coy by like putting out this big announcement about all its stuff right when it's starting to catch all this heat.
They're trying to damage control a little bit and remend. I mean, they're mending some fences too. Like Todd Howard did an interview with Schreier for the first time in like 13 years or something after they blacklisted him for not even doing what they accused him of doing.
And for doing his job, basically.
Well, the official reason at the time was that he spoiled the story of Fallout, but he didn't. Like, there wasn't anything story other than, like, the base premise, but that's not story spoiler.
Yeah.
Were you not going to tell us the beginning of the game?
Right.
Of course not.
It was just silly. I mean, that's one thing I will say about the industry
also,
back
what
in the day.
What does being blacklisted by Bethesda even mean? Like, you're not going to get to interview us 14 years later for our next game? Like, come on, man.
That is one thing I will say about the industry now compared to the way it used to be. And I did just do an editorial on the Shane Satterfield show talking about how I believe the industry used to be better for a number of reasons. But one thing that I think is a little bit better now than it used to be is that the industry doesn't freak out about stuff like it used to. Like, Rockstar banned like Giant Bomb for 15 years over some petty little stupid thing.
I don't even remember what that was. I remember that happening, but I don't remember what they quote unquote did.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff Gerstmann about it like years and years after they had been blacklisted. And because he wanted to talk to me and be like, what's your experience like with Rockstar? And I was like, I honestly can't tell you about half of my experience with this group, but I'll be honest, like, they're not great. And he was like, man, like, we did some stupid little thing like 15 years ago and they still won't talk to us. And I was like, dang, like, you used to see that a lot.
Yeah.
Like EGM was blacklisted by like 3 publishers or something, and you just don't see that anymore.
No.
Like, they've really chilled out.
You don't see like the the weird manipulation for. I mean, I know everybody, like the people on dipshits online are going on about it's like, oh, pay to scores and they pay. It's like what? So what was the story on like Gollum?
Right.
Did Warner Brothers just forget to send the checks for that one? Like what? Like you'd have like even smaller companies would be like. It's like, hey, what can we do to make sure this review doesn't go up, kind of thing. And it's like that doesn't happen today. I haven't heard any stories of anything like that from anyone, even like off the record.
Me either.
Forever.
Me either. Yeah, it does feel like PR marketing have chilled out. I think what they've realized is like even if somebody says something bad or even something that's inaccurate,
at least they're talking about you.
Right. I think they've just figured out that
the signal to noise has basically killed all of that micromanagement.
Yep. I think that's what's happened. So. Anyway, a little interesting tidbit on how the industry has changed over time from a couple of insiders who's been around it for 30 years at this point. Next year will be 30 years of me getting paid to cover the video game industry. 1997 I started. It's crazy. A couple housekeeping things to get through before we get into the show, and then we'll go to you guys and we'll see what you guys have been up to for the week. So we've been talking the last 2 weeks about PlayStation killing physical games, and we're not going to rehash all the discussion that we've done over the last 2 episodes, but we did get sort of a final nail in the coffin this week, or maybe just a final piece of evidence when Circana shared, Matt Piscatello at Circana shared, that only 7 PlayStation games, and that's for PS4 or PS5 or PlayStation VR, which doesn't really matter at all anymore, only 7 PlayStation games in 2026 have sold over 100,000 physical copies.
I mean, it's not like it's not like a Last of Us came out this year or anything.
Yeah, I mean, they have Sorrows came out, which flopped really badly, it looks like. But that's it. I mean, that is all the evidence that PlayStation ever needed. It's like, you guys can argue all you want, complain, call us whatever you want, carpet bomb every YouTube video that we post, which is what's happening
almost
now.
Almost exactly the number of people that signed that petition, really.
Are the same people who carpet bomb the videos on YouTube.
And who bought those physical copies, I guess.
Yeah. So
100,000 people.
I even saw, after this information came out, I even saw some publications that have been on the pro physical, beating the drum bandwagon for the last 3 weeks, acquiesce. And be like, okay.
2 things can be true. Physical media can be valuable and necessary for preservation and consumer rights, and it can no longer make financial sense to keep producing the physical media. Like both of those things can be true.
Yeah. But
guess which one matters more to the company that's spending the money?
The money side. Yeah. So anyway, look, I know it. I would love if physical media didn't go away. I still buy physical games when I can, but even I can see the writing on the wall here. Only 7 games have sold over 100,000 units physically this whole year. That data is hard.
Nothing.
100,000 units is nothing. Yep. So there you go, people.
Compared to even 5 years ago.
Yep. Yeah. And then on the fun side of stuff, this weekend there is an open beta for Marvel Tokon. Anybody can play on PC or PlayStation 5. They haven't really said, at least that I saw, like exactly how many characters will be in it or how many stages or anything like that. But just download the beta this weekend on PS5 or PC, and my guess is there will be crossplay, and we can all get it on in this brand new Marvel Tag Fighter this weekend. Are you excited to play it, Matt?
Somewhat. Like, I don't know, man. I don't have the time or patience to master another 2D fighter.
Yeah, because it is a big commitment. You're right. Yeah,
I'll play it, but I'm not going to be any good at it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you'll still be better than me.
Maybe.
I pretty much guarantee that much. But yeah, I think it goes up on Friday late afternoon, something like that. So
that's the problem with fighting games for me these days is like I'm too good to play like casual
people like me
stuff, but I'm not good enough to play the actual pros or tournament stuff effectively. So like I don't really have anything.
Yeah, you can't find a fun way to play. Yeah. That really sucks. Either you're kicking people's ass or they're kicking your ass. For me, I wouldn't call myself a complete casual for fighting games because I've been playing them since I was like 5. But, I think I'm maybe just a cut above that, and I'm excited for this. And I definitely will have people who will be able to kick my butt, and I'll be able to kick their butts. I'll fall right in the middle there somewhere.
I mean, we're certainly doing better than DC fans at this point.
Yeah, did you see yesterday they announced that mobile DC fighter?
Yeah, the DC KO, which is based on a comic event crossover thing that just happened.
Was it called DCKO in the comic?
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, that's a very similar name to 2XKO from Riot.
But that's just coincidence.
Yeah,
it was a
timing.
They had to fight. Everyone in the entire DC universe and outside the DC universe, in some cases, had to fight to the center of the Earth to find the heart of Darkseid to make a wish to undo the destruction of reality or something.
Oh.
Which meant that Superman and everybody had to kill people. Like, it was a fight to the death. But if you got the heart, you could wish undo everything that had happened so nobody died or
I
something.
see.
It was like one of those things. But they killed Batman on like the first issue, so they didn't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, oh, we're just gonna get him off the board.
Also to draw people in for that first issue.
They brought in like Homelander and a bunch of like, outside the company stuff came in. But as people noted, Marvel fans get a tag fighter by the people who made Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, and DC fans get a game called Dicko. So that's pretty much the DC story in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that really is. Yeah. So anyway, if you're into fighting games, also we should note too that PlayStation had announced a brand new fighting stick. It was called like the Fire Sprite or something like that.
I remember the name, but I've seen it.
It's now been delayed after the launch of this game. And this game comes out like August 6th, I think. It's coming up pretty soon. So not much longer to wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, luckily you don't need a stick to play this game at all. But I wouldn't mind having a fighting stick for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Are you surprised that they didn't get the fighting stick done in time?
No, there's a lot of like physical manufacturing problems that are happening everywhere. Not just with that. So it's not super surprising, but it is unfortunate.
Pretty big mistake to announce it with the game and then to not have.
I mean, they couldn't have foreseen.
I guess not.
The issues that were. I mean, this goes way beyond like a company trying to make a joystick. It's a global problem.
Yep. And then we got information that we are going to see that crazy DLC for The Witcher 3 at Gamescom 2026. Is coming out in 2027. So we're going to see it in like a month or so. Are you excited for it?
Yeah. I mean, more Witcher 3 is good.
Yeah, always. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. And, you know, they're going to blow it out at Gamescom, which is appropriate. They're a European studio. So we'll get a good look at that here in the very near future, which is very, very exciting. In other news for housekeeping, Nintendo today basically told the people who paid extra money for the Switch 2 over tariffs to go F themselves. It filed for basically to throw the court case out, stating that it never told people that if the tariffs went away or if Nintendo got a refund on those tariffs, that it would give the money back to consumers. So basically what Nintendo is doing here is it's trying to double dip. So it increased the price of Switch 2, saying it was over tariffs and AI or whatever. People continued buying the Switch 2 at the higher price. Now, the government, the U.S. government, instead of giving the money back to the citizens who paid for the tariffs, they have given the money back to the companies. So Nintendo got the money for the tariffs from us, which we paid extra for the hardware, and now it got a huge, probably multi-billion-dollar payment from the U.S. government for those tariffs. So it made more money off its hardware, and now it's getting a rebate for the tariffs, and it is not passing that on to consumers at all. So consumers filed a big class action lawsuit against Nintendo over this. Nintendo is trying to get that thing thrown out. It filed like a brief today trying to get them to throw it.
And they will succeed.
You think so?
100%.
Really?
If it wasn't worth it to you, you shouldn't have bought it. That's it. This is what Pachter
That's
said.
what they said. That's what they said too.
I mean, their argument is exactly Pachter's. It's like, if this was not worth paying for the product, then why did you buy the product?
Yep.
That's it.
That is what they said in their brief.
You agreed to the transaction, and that was it. There was no tariff charge on that receipt. That is, I mean. And don't be mad at Nintendo. Be mad at the government. They're sending the refunds to the wrong place.
Because, well, they started it all with the freaking tariffs in the first place that are illegal and have been deemed illegal.
Right. And the companies, I mean, the companies had to do what they had to do to stay liquid.
Yeah.
And, like, the government should be sending the refunds to people. It should be going out to the citizens who had to pay the higher prices, not the companies. But that's not how anything works, because all the companies are in bed with the government in the first place.
Well, they also did the tariff so haphazardly that there was no way to document who was paying what.
There's no documentation on anything, and there's no way to know anything. But you'd have to basically add up all the costs that were used, that the tariffs enacted and just split it all up by 300 some million people and send everybody a check.
Yep.
Like for the pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
That's basically what they'd have to do.
Yeah.
And this administration is obviously not going to do that.
Yeah, they sent it to the companies. No shocker there. So they definitely care about companies more than they care about citizens.
Too bad, fuckos, basically.
Yeah.
And like Nintendo, I mean, they're not the first and not going to be the last company that makes this argument because it is correct.
Legally, it's doing something that is fine. I think morally is the, where
there are no morals in business.
There really aren't.
I mean, obviously, they could do something where everybody who bought a Switch 2, you get credited some like
give you a free game,
$10 on your
give them that stupid wheelchair basketball game. Anything
you can keep that. I think.
I'm just saying, anything would be a gesture of goodwill, but could make Nintendo look like the winner here.
But no, it would be admitting it.
Yeah,
and that would give you an opening
to file the class action lawsuit. Yeah.
So no, none of this is going to happen.
Yep. So anyway, we all paid extra for Switch 2, and we're not getting our money back, and now the company's made double money off of their stuff because our government is a complete and utter train wreck. So that's pretty much what's happening with the Switch 2 and tariff rebates, and then a final piece, well, a couple final pieces. Also, there are rumblings right now, Matt, about a Switch 2 OLED model, which makes no sense to me at all right now.
$750 or what are we going to pay for this one?
What the hell? Like, I mean, I get it. This normal cadence now for Switch. You put out the LCD version, then you put out the OLED version. I get that, but the times they have changed, and that strategy isn't going to work. Like, you're basically
they have a change, and the PlayStation 6 is apparently still coming. So the pipeline cannot be denied.
Now people are starting to wonder if they may launch the PlayStation 6 as the handheld only at first, and then put out the more expensive console version later on.
Save me money early on.
Because the handheld version is going to be a Switch. You're going to be able to plug an HDMI cable into your TV.
I ain't buying that.
Me either. But people will.
Oh, maybe some of them.
And it's a cheaper way for people to get into the PS6 ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, it's also the only selling point you have for that. Like, it's going to be easier to sell the idea of a portable PlayStation Switch style than it is going to be to convince people that this ray tracing is really
for $1,000. Yeah, I hear you. I agree with that. So anyway, Nintendo's working on an OLED screen. I don't know if it's a good idea. And then the final piece of housekeeping before we get on with the show is that a brand new Ghost Recon is going to be debuted on August 6th, the same day that Marvel Tokon comes out. Rumors around that suggest it's going back to first person. There's some kind of quirk about it, like something that even the leakers don't know, but have to, I don't know, some special thing about how it's designed or something. And then it's supposed to be a throwback to the old Ghost Recon games, which I am 100% behind. So it sounds like Breakpoint was the breaking point for Ubisoft, and it's decided to go back to the old Ghost Recon stuff. We're going to find out about that on August 6th. So not much longer to wait for.
By old Ghost Recon, what is that? Like Advanced Warfighter, or is that?
I think it's like back to like Black Arrow,
like the strategy
straight up
planning,
tactical strategic planning. Yeah,
where you plan the route through the whole thing.
I think for the campaign, and then multiplayer, I think is going to go back to the way it was, where like it's basically one shot, one kill. Like you get hit with a bullet, you basically die, and it's really about like using all your gadgets and knowing where people are and the choke points and all that kind of stuff. So
it's kind of too bad because I like the
Wildlands.
I like the Wildlands format. I thought it differentiated it well from the Rainbow Six stuff.
It does, for sure. But Rainbow Six is like dead now.
Yeah, Rainbow Six, other than Siege, that's it.
Like, so it sounds like they're going to use Ghost Recon as that sort of more tactical, angled shooter franchise.
I mean, if that brings back kind of the Rainbow Six Vegas style stuff, that would be cool.
I'd be cool with that too.
I played a lot of that.
Yeah, I played a lot of Ghost Recon, like Xbox One, not ONE, first Xbox era. It was probably my favorite shooter at the time. I liked it more than Call of Duty. But, over time, both franchises have morphed and changed and blah, blah, blah.
So people forget those started as very thinky games. The Recon, Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six used to plan the route. It was barely an action game. You planned the whole route for all the squads, and then it happened in like 40 seconds.
And you let it play out.
You just saw what happened.
Yep. And it was cool. Like, there aren't games really like that anymore, sadly.
No.
So anyway, it looks like the next Ghost Recon is going to be a throwback to the old Ghost Recon. I think most people like more. I think generally more people like the old style of Ghost Recon.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
Well, because those didn't sell remotely like Wild...
that Xbox one was one of the best sellers on Xbox.
What's the Wild?
Wildlands.
Wildlands.
That sold great.
Yeah.
That sold like 10, 12 million units. And they're working on like either a remaster or a remake of that. They're going to re-release that game.
That's probably smart.
And that's probably to satisfy the new Ghost Recon fans.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I get it. Like, it's probably also cheaper to make the throwback version. But it's like, yeah, Breakpoint didn't work for you, but it wasn't because the format was bad. It was because you kind of sprawled it out too hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think the setting or the premise was as engaging as Wildlands.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember the name of that Wildlands should have been the title you really clung to more than Ghost Recon, because
you're right.
Not that they should have named it Wildlands 2 or whatever, but I mean, like, the fun part of that was that you were in a totally wild environment and like you never
open
didn't
world
know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And Breakpoint felt like another techie thing.
Felt like a step back.
Felt a little too Watch Dogsy. And I think if you kept it more like, I mean, honestly, if you had to keep it more like something that could do the Predator event. And I think having it be more out in the jungle, more out of it in a crazy place. I mean, even if it's just like the desert. I mean, you can still do like a desert thing, but like come up with some excuse to have them in like, sub-Saharan Africa, where you can have like the Sahara, but you can also have like the savannah. You just like different environments you can mess with. I think that would have been a more interesting direction to take it. I think the Breakpoint misstep was this. Yeah.
Making it like this
exactly
weird
that
futuristic,
shot. Yeah, it's like oh, like we don't need a game where we like have to experience the evil of like out of touch tech bro billionaires. We live that every day.
Yeah.
Just give us something that's like feels like, give me something to shoot. And like the drone stuff.
I mean, nobody would ever look at this footage here and be like, "Oh, that's definitely Ghost Recon."
No.
Like whether you like the old Ghost Recon or you like Wildlands.
Like I know Ghost Recon has always been kind of about like the cutting edge tech. Like Advanced Warfighter was very much like, here's what they'll be using in 2010.
Yeah.
And
in 2010. Well, back then that was the future.
That was like that was what Ghost Recon kind of had become by the Xbox era, was like the bleeding edge. Like Rainbow Six was like stuff that everyone was using now.
Yeah.
And Ghost Recon was like stuff everyone's gonna be using in 5 years.
Yeah.
And like exoskeletons and all that, things. It's stuff that never actually happened, but shit you would have seen on like that Tech TV Beyond 2000 show.
Yeah.
And then the open world thing was like a cool way to mess with it. And kind of, it was because it wasn't something any of the other Ubisoft Tom Clancy stuff was doing.
Yeah.
I think Wildlands Remaster is probably good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. Even though it already sold 10 million units or whatever. That was now what, like 8 years ago, 9 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's almost ready for a remaster. But yeah, I definitely feel like Ghost Recon kind of lost its way with Breakpoint. It's good to hear that Ubisoft has recognized that and is going to try to pull it back a little bit and bring it back to what I think built it into one of Ubisoft's biggest franchises. So there you go. Let's check in with chat.
Where's Far Cry 7?
They won't talk about that.
Yeah.
They won't talk about it.
I think they're afraid of that. Far Cry. I think what happened with Far Cry 6 surprised the hell out of them.
Well, I think it was, they may have like sent it back to like restart it.
Yeah.
At some point.
I really think they need to look at Far Cry 2 very hard. I think incorporating what Far Cry 2 did is
that whole tech with the fire that sets
everything,
all of it. Yeah.
The fact that you're kind of on your own out in this world, and like it's a little unforgiving and a little crazy, and like you gotta like balance your even the weapon degradation, which everybody hated, like that adds an element to it that made it different. It felt like when you left a safe house in that game, you were taking your life in your hands.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think they need to recapture that.
I agree with that. Yep. Look, we got a super chat over on YouTube from Mike's Q. $5. Thank you, Mike's Q. Hope you're doing good. What do you think of the stark contrast of World Cup visitors enjoying the U.S. versus GDC attendees who backed out because of too much danger in the U.S.? Well, I don't know about that. Like, I saw people getting harassed at airports, and there was one official they didn't let officiate, and it seems to me like they were just racially profiling people at the airports.
It did happen.
I mean, it's awful.
Remember, the visitors enjoying the U.S. got into the U.S. and experienced actual Americans.
Yeah.
Like, that's different from, like, I don't think the people that didn't want to go to GDC were worried about, like, people attacking them in the streets of San Francisco. Or getting shot by the authorities.
Yeah. So one of the guys that died this week, he was here for on vacation and had a vacation visa. And he just got scared and ran because he's seen all this stuff on TV. He's like, they're going to kill me. So he ran, and then they killed him. He was here for vacation.
Well,
so it's way worse.
Well, it's all crazy. I mean, then it does
bonkers.
I saw videos of it's a dash cam video of a guy who gets pulled over in his truck, and he's he's a black guy. He's like kind of he's pretty chill about things, but he's just like, yeah, what come on, what do you whatever. I'm because he had tint on his windows or something.
Yeah.
And he's like whatever, and he this one female cop just like keeps just, I don't what do you do, why, and he's like, nah, yeah, I do have a weapon in the back, and eventually she pulls a gun on him, and they pull him out of the car, and of course he's an FBI agent. He's an off-duty FBI agent, and he's doing everything right. He's like, I want to talk. Can you get your supervisor on the radio right now? And they won't do it. And he's like, why aren't you getting? And he's like, okay, you got to get out of the car now. And they arrest him, and he's like, this is not going to go the way you think it is. And it turned out he was FBI. And
I guess to answer Mike Q's question, the people at GDC were right, and the people who came for the World Cup were right. They were both treated like crap. And I'll be honest with you, like, it's hurting us. Like, Vegas right now, like, it's like money is like down 15%.
And just because some of that happened doesn't mean that other people didn't enjoy a hoagie somewhere.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
If you're just dealing with regular Americans and not like the authorities, then you have a pretty good time and discover what a big gulp is. Now you know why we're all fat.
The overwhelming thing that I saw just across like social media and people on the news talking was like, you know what? If you get the government out of the way, we all love each other. Like we do. People of different races, colors, creeds, countries, we all love each other and we want everybody to do well. It's when the government gets involved and divides us. That's what happens. Like, get the government out. We're fine. People generally want to help other people. It's human nature. It's when the government gets involved, they screw everything up. So Mike's Q, man, it was just as bad as GDC. Worse. The stuff at GDC didn't even really happen. The stuff here did happen to people. So, yeah, it sucks. And, I wouldn't blame somebody if somebody said, you know what, I never want to come to America again after seeing what's happened over the last, 2 years. I wouldn't blame them because you could literally just get snatched up, put into a vehicle by people who have no badges and no ID, and they could just take you away. And there's nothing you can do about it. It is insane what is happening in our country. And I wouldn't blame anybody if they would never want to come here. Ever. It's bonkers what is happening. Completely bonkers.
Also, notice how many of the people posting the videos about how cool and crazy America is and how much fun they're having. Check where they're from. Check what color they are. Because a lot of those people were Europeans.
They were white people, right, from South Africa. The only people that actually can get visas now in America are white people. It's just so messed up. I don't even want to waste our awesome show on talking about these scumbags that are running our country right now. Let's check in with our chat people. Oh, we got another super chat over on YouTube from Znark8850 SEK. Thank you, Znark. If you have a question, put it in there and we will answer it. I promise you, we answer every single super chat we ever get. And thanks again, Mike Q, for asking a question. Cinetike, sorry you couldn't pay me to visit the U.S. and I'm a white male. A lot of people feel that way. It's crazy what's going on here. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to come here. It could ruin your life.
Tourism is very down here. I mean, the World Cup was very well attended locally, but the hotels were only 80% full, even for a normal season, let alone a World Cup.
The only way you could tell is if you went places where they were having World Cup events. So in Santa Monica, they shut down one of the piers, and it was just a World Cup thing. And so if you would go down there, you could tell the World Cup was happening.
Or up in Old Town Pasadena and that.
Where the games were.
If you go, almost all the people who were there were local. It's just that everyone in LA is from somewhere else, so every country was pretty much represented at those events because you've got people from every country here.
Yeah. Yep. Odin5, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate that, brother. I really do appreciate it. Every single one of you guys that do this. Lynn Jeff 99, thank you for Twitch Prime. What else we got here? Fire Native, thank you. As always, guys, if you want us to answer your question or recognize you, make sure you go at Sifted Games in our chat. I say it every week, but got to repeat it because some people don't show up every week for our live streams. Any questions? Norix Nessie 94, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Talica 1981, thank you. What else we got? It never increased the price of Switch 2, Vincent says. Is that true?
I mean, the Switch 2 price was what it was. And then we had the price hike later. We don't know if the price...
Is he talking about at launch they didn't increase it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we know that. But they eventually did increase the price of it.
Yeah. That had happened already.
Yeah, because
right?
Nintendo did kind of bite the bullet because it had already manufactured all its
because they got
units.
as many as they could into the country before they enacted
for the tariffs. Nintendo was just smart, honestly. Everybody else should have done the same thing that it did. God of Gamblers 33, PSX Portable with full digital. I will buy one. Okay. Eric Carmena says there's going to be a light before the OLED model. We'll see. We'll see. Again, this is coming from reliable leakers, this information. What else we got in here? I think that's it. Nintendo double dip, but they're my best friends and have my interest at heart from Threadzilla. These companies don't care about you people. I've been saying this for like 30 years, and people still never get it.
Yeah, companies are not your friend.
They're not your friend. They just want to squeeze you for every last dollar. Nintendo too.
Not even if you work for them.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo is just better at hiding it. That's really what it is. And it strategically is like, we'll spend the money here to make it so we don't look like everybody else. Eth even says, so Matt will play Witcher 3 for the 101st time for the new DLC.
I probably will just have to load up one of my saves because I'm pretty sure it's going to be like another epilogue.
Ashes on the Hourglass says, Americans are not used to living with the consequences of their actions, huh?
Not really, no.
Yeah. Death Metal Greg, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. And we'll get to this in a second. AJ's asking about the Doomsday trailer, but I think what he really wants to know is what you thought of the Odyssey. But let's get through all the chat here first.
Well, I think he would have said Odyssey if he meant that.
Threadzilla, I'm not a fighting game guy at all, but I'm picking this up. Love the art style.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Uh-huh.
And there is stuff to do beyond just being a fighting, there's stuff in it that isn't just fighting game stuff. I mean, it's all fighting game, but like there's a story and there's it's a new continuity of Marvel to play with. It's interesting.
AJ says he's headed to San Diego Comic-Con tomorrow. Awesome, have fun down there. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see how Sony is treated in Hall H for the Wolverine presentation. Today, Sony put out a trailer that was titled...
That's kind of their first real-life contact with people who are going to be mad about the physical game thing. Yeah.
Today, Sony put out a trailer that was titled Marvel Video Games. And then it was Marvel Tokon and Marvel's Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Obviously,
both of them.
Right, yeah. But I mean, to be fair, it has kind of cornered the market on Marvel games for the rest of this year anyway. Console-wise. Obviously, Tokon's going to PC as well.
And I imagine Strikeforce is still making more money than both of them combined.
Probably. Yep. What else we got here? Eric Carmenez, how many Sony games have been released in that time? No, Eric, it wasn't Sony's games. It was any game. It was third party, first party. Of all the games that have been released for PS4 and PS5 in 2026, only 7 have sold more than 100K physical.
And one of those is almost certainly not Saros. So
right.
I would imagine none of those are Sony games.
Probably none of them, yeah. Because it just doesn't really release games anymore.
Not ones that would kind of break that barrier.
Times in he goes, I call BS on that. There's no way you can have two truths on the same topic on the internet. Mm-hmm. He's right, though. That's the way people are. Super Master Gamer, look at that awesome 10-stream streak. Thank you for showing up. TV Hardy, thank you for Twitch Prime. What else we got? How many major AAA games have come out this year? A lot, Ashes. A lot. Yeah, a lot have. God of Gamblers 33. Do you know if Showa American Story is still coming out this year? I honestly don't know. I've not followed that game at all because there's nothing to follow. They put out like one... I think it was delayed out of this year, actually. That game looks cool, though. Do you know what that is? It's that one with like alt-American history or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Seems pretty cool. But yeah, I think
they haven't really been talking about it.
It's from a really small studio, so I don't expect like a lot of media coming out from it. But also because they're small, it could get delayed again.
Where is that? You remember that game that was like you're transported to like medieval times with your pickup truck and a shotgun?
That was also delayed.
It was supposed to come out like October last year. Like what happened to that game?
It was also supposed to come out at some point this year and it was delayed again. Yeah, where you basically go to medieval times, but you're in like a normal like Ford pickup truck and got like shotguns and stuff. That game's also pretty cool, I think. Yeah. I don't know what happened here. Oh, thank God it went away. So God of Gamblers, I don't think it's coming out this year. I think it was delayed out of this year. If anybody knows better, put that in the chat lower for him. That would be sweet. And thank you for Twitch Prime as well. The Big Smoke 82, I call mine the Mighty Whites. LOL. Is it hot for California? It is hot for California. It is, man. Like driving over here.
83 is not hot for Los Angeles. It's just warmer than it's been this year.
I think it's hotter here at your house than that, though. Because it was 83 on the west side.
No, I just looked. It's 83.
Oh, really? Because usually you're about 8 to 10 degrees warmer than where I am.
The problem is that A, it hasn't really been warm for months here, and B, it's a little humid. Like it's not the dry
which is very
LA
out of the ordinary.
It's a very heavy heat that doesn't happen here all that often. It's not a desert heat, which is different. The reason you don't adjust to the heat or the cold here is because it fluctuates so much. You can't get used to one thing or the other. Like the reason you get used to extreme cold if you live in like Minnesota is because it's fucking freezing for like 5 months,
right?
And you just acclimate to it. That never happens here. It's cold for like 2 weeks. And then it's warm again, then it's cold again, and then here it's like super hot for 2 weeks, then it's like normal again. So your body never like gets used to being one or the other. That's why. And you're walking into AC all the time. It's different.
Glottis21, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. Appreciate that. Cinetite, thank you for Twitch Prime as always. 69 months, lucky number. You may want to go play the lottery today. And what else we got here? Emperor Dread, thank you. Eric Carmenes, thank you for getting your game face on. Obi Wannabe, thank you. Gray Dog 93, thank you. Keffy Kef, thank you. And Skull Oh Boy, thank you guys all for Twitch Prime. And now that I scroll down here, there may be more when we get to the end of the chat. Wow, chat's going off today. You guys must be all chilling inside in the AC today. Khalib Twila, I love that New Orleans weather. Yeah, it's not quite as humid as it is in New Orleans.
Nothing's that humid, but it is closer to that than the usual LA.
Yeah, closer than normal for sure. During Swoosh, it was in the mid-90s in PA for a week straight before I saw that. So I listen to sports talk radio from Pittsburgh like all the time, and they always talk about the weather. The weather in Pittsburgh, I think, is maybe the worst weather in the United States. It rains there. It's only second in rain to Seattle. It just rains every freaking day there. It's like nice for a day and then crappy for like 5 days straight. I hate to say it, I would never live in Pittsburgh. I like going there for games and I love the city, but I couldn't deal with that weather all year round. I think that's it. So Ian Esquire got in there with Twitch Prime. Khalib Twai, it's been hotter in Paris than LA. I mean, you guys have been getting a crazy heat wave out there.
It has not been very warm in California during all the heat. No. It's been warmer everywhere else than here.
Yeah. Daring Swoosh, thank you for Twitch Prime as well. And RE9, Pragmata, 007, Crimson Desert, what other? I don't have time ashes to do this on the show, man. What else? Oh, let's check out YouTube before we move on. Ed Rock 9995 says Ghosts of Tsushima and the Odyssey had a similar theme about fighting with honor and the repercussions. And then Bachby says over under a percentage on cross-gen lasting 5 years because Sony can't afford to have any other studio than Housemarque and Media Molecule make a PS6 exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I think cross-gen will last a very long time.
Yeah.
It lasted a long time this gen.
It really did. Yeah. Is he talking about cross-gen as far as like keeping the PS5 alive?
Yeah. Stuff that comes out on is playable on both.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll last even longer.
Years and years.
I think it'll last last 15 years.
Because again, it's just gonna be graphics settings.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like having a different graphics card.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be stuff that only runs on this hardware because this hardware has some specific architecture that allows this game mechanic to function properly. It's just gonna be turning the graphics up.
Those days are over.
That's it.
Yeah, those days are over.
This is not Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't run on the NES. We're just talking about like little bumps in processor speed now.
Yep. Soulwax Remix says PS5 won't get cut off until PS7 is released. That's probably
entirely possible.
That could be. And I'll be honest with you.
There's no real reason to.
Is there gonna be a PS7? Like, will we be alive when the PS7 comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. They'll keep releasing these until the brand ends.
Until nobody buys them?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible. I mean, it may get to the end of the PS6, and it's 20 years from now. Like,
it'll be 7 years.
You think so?
Yeah. That's apparently what they've decided they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's
7 or 8 years, it seems like, even with this gen being overpriced.
I
mean, they may want to get away from this gen in all honesty. Cinetike says it's probably going to have a focus on AI-powered PSSR stuff like upscaling and frame gen. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah. I mean, PS6 is going to be have that big time too. Yeah.
Maybe that's why it still kind of sucks, because they're just saving all the real upgrades for that.
That could be.
I mean, I imagine PS5 will benefit from that too when the time comes. But...
Yeah. Thanks again to Mike's Q and Znark88 for the super chats over on YouTube. As I said, if you drop a super chat at any point in the show, we'll find a good place to stop, but we will stop and answer your question. So you put up your money, we'll put up our responses here on GameFace. That's how we roll. All right. We're just about ready to kick off GameFace episode 489. When I say that, I'm like, man, we've done almost 500 episodes of this show. But before we do that, here's a word, of course, from our awesome sponsor, L to the S to the Cream.
It's LS Cream, the fine cream liqueur crafted by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. Inspired by the Haitian drink Cré Mas, LS Cream delivers an award-winning experience with every single pour. One sip and you'll see why. It's a party favorite. The silky blend of fresh cream and premium neutral grain spirits mixes great with everything. I dare you to put a shot in your coffee. I've been drinking it for years and still, I find new combinations that taste incredible. LS Cream is the kind of drink that keeps surprising you thanks to its notes of vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. Take it to any gathering and watch it steal the spotlight. We've never seen anyone resist. Ready to join the fan club? Head to creamls.com/sifted for recipes, retailers, and online orders. That's creamls.com/sifted.
That's right, people. It's time for you to join the Cream team at creamls.com/sifted and start cremassing dead ass with some awesome LS Cream. Mix it with just about anything and it makes it better, I promise you. I'm trying to think of things that it would not mix well with. Kool-Aid.
No, not Kool-Aid.
Sprite.
I wouldn't put it in Mountain Dew.
Sprite, Mountain Dew.
Citrus. Doesn't mix well with
citrus.
Yeah.
Because it's like milk-based.
Yeah.
So anything milk-based is not going to work well with citrus stuff.
No.
Yeah. Otherwise, it mixes with pretty much everything and makes it taste way better. Go to Cream.
It's a good thing you can't ruin steak.
It's true. It tastes great with steak, let me tell you.
I was going to say pour it over the steak.
Oh, I think that might be good too, actually.
It wouldn't be my preferred choice, but I bet it wouldn't
I think
kill
it. Yeah, I think it would still be edible for sure. Yep. Go to creamls.com/sifted. No matter where you live, that will help you find a bottle. You can either use a store locator to find one nearby you can drive to and pick it up, or you can use the online bottle locator to just have one shipped to you. Either way, LS Cream is worth every penny, and I promise. I have been talking about LS Cream now for like 5 years. I have never, ever had somebody contact me and tell me I was wrong about LS Cream. Ever. No one's even ever contacted me and said, it's okay, it's not good. Like, never. It's always like, you're right. Like, I mix it with everything. Go to creamls.com/sifted and find out for yourself.
You make a chicken marinade out of it?
I think you could, actually.
Probably.
You'd have to, like, simmer it down.
You'd have to reduce it, like almost a molasses sort
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, I think it'd be delicious. Yeah. You really could. Maybe that's how you win the LS Cream 5K challenge, is making, like, food with it. Like, just throw a total curveball.
Yeah, the curveball is that you made the cookout.
Right. Seriously. Again, go to creamls.com/sifted. And we're about to kick off the show proper. But Matt, do you actually want to take a minute to share your impressions of the Odyssey before we move on here?
Sure. I mean,
I don't know if anybody asked, but I think most people would like to.
Asked about the Doomsday trailer. I saw a couple of those. I don't have a whole lot to say about the Doomsday trailer.
Yeah.
It's a trailer for Doomsday. Okay.
Didn't move the needle for you either way?
No, I mean, I got my tickets for it. Like, I'm ready to go, but it's like, obviously I'm going to see it, but I'm not particularly excited about it. Like, I don't trust it. I don't think they know what they're doing. I know too much about the production from people that I know around here who know some things, and I know how often they rewrote it and how many times they've gone back to the drawing board and how many times they've decided this character should actually be this character or change to this version of this character, and I just don't really believe that I think they are flailing. I think they don't know what they're doing, and I don't think they have a plan for Secret Wars at all.
Oh.
I do not believe Secret Wars is coming out next year. I don't think that movie's even written yet. So
that's bad.
Good luck, everybody. And the other thing, this is petty, but the other thing is, and I don't mean any disrespect to Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I think he looks ridiculous as Gambit.
I'd agree with that, actually.
And I think that worked in Deadpool versus Wolverine because that was kind of part of the joke. Like, am I wrong?
Now he's serious.
That part of the joke of that was that Channing Tatum is a ridiculous casting choice for Gambit, and that's why he's kind of on the Isle of Misfit X-Men there.
Maybe.
Like, there's an element of that.
It's hard to tell. With Deadpool in particular.
Right. But that's part of the joke, I think, is that, like, a Channing Tatum Gambit movie would have been ridiculous. And he's doing the act. I mean, it works in that. He's very funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very, but like Marvel is so desperate right now. There's like, oh, people like him. And
they
we
don't
gotta
know
bring
why.
him back in. But him playing it straight, where he's supposed to actually be Gambit, another Gambit from another X-Men continuity fighting. Like a Shang-Chi Gambit fight is great, but against like someone who fucking looks like Gambit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't like Gambit should be built like an ice skater or a ballet dancer. Like, he's a live thief. He should basically just be sinew and
Stealthy.
wire and like just like incredibly athletic. And obviously Channing Tatum is incredibly athletic, but he's not athletic in the way Gambit.
He's like a
is.
meathead.
He's a Captain America type more than anything else. So.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love his enthusiasm for it, but watching that clips of the fight with him and Shang-Chi is like, oh, that's such a cool idea, but it's so ridiculous that, like, comedy option Gambit is fighting, like, actual Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is just, like, I don't understand the RDJ casting. Like, and clearly, I mean, he's doing a voice, like, doing, like, a fake accent, like, a invented Latvian accent. He doesn't sound like himself at all. You can't tell it's him.
Yeah.
Like, is there going to be a scene where everyone's like, whoa, it's Tony. Like, what is that? Or is he just going to be Doom? Is he just going to play Doom the whole time? I think he's just playing Doom. I just think they want his name on the poster, right? Because his face isn't there. I mean, if he was in it like that, I think you'd see his face with the hood or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's just so weird. It's such a weird choice. And it's going to be a whole thing where it's like everyone's running around fighting each other, and then it's like, wait, whose side are you on? Wait, you mean the guy named Doom is the bad guy all the way? It's like, okay. I'm like, I have to sit through 3 hours of this? Like, I don't know, man.
I was surprised at the lack of response to it. Because I was on the internet.
Nobody reacted to it.
I was on the internet all day, and I didn't see anybody like freaking out about like they used to.
It's all Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey is the hot. Because Nolan. I mean, no one owns the zeitgeist the way Christopher Nolan does.
He's he feels like the only director that's guaranteed to make money on his films now.
Pretty much. I mean, he's even when they're not amazing.
Yeah, he's still making money.
I don't think he's he doesn't have the best record of all the directors modern directors working today. That would be Villeneuve. I don't think Denis Villeneuve has ever made a movie that was less than very good. But
I'm not talking about good. I'm just saying it makes money.
Successful.
Yeah.
But Nolan's close. But Nolan just, the people are saying this is going to be a flop because there was a trans man and a black woman in it. We're just like, if you ever took any of that seriously, you're out of your fucking mind. I just
don't understand why people live this way. How exhausting is it to live like this? You're always looking for something to be outraged by.
Well, because that's the business. That's the business model. It's a grift. And remember, like, I mean, look, I know that, like, I am not quite in the same vein as most people because I know what books are and I've read the Odyssey. But, like, people were like talking about, oh, like, Elliot Page is playing Achilles and that's an insult to... Okay, first off, no, he's not, because Achilles is not in the fucking Odyssey. He's dead. Yeah. Like, he dies like way before the Trojan horse thing in the Iliad.
People don't know this.
You don't know any of this shit.
No.
The character that Elliot Page plays is not even from the Odyssey. He's from the Aeneid.
Yeah,
which I don't even get into what the Aeneid is because people don't know that.
I mean, it's what you're seeing is curriculum across high schools.
Oh, yeah.
I had to read it. Some people didn't have to read it. And if they didn't have to read it, they're not going to read it.
Also, a lot of people who had to read it didn't read it.
That's true. Yeah. They read the Crib Notes version or whatever.
Half the people in your class did not read that fucking book. You know
that's
that.
True.
We all know that. Yeah. And I haven't read it since college. I haven't read it in 30 years, so I'm not like.
I haven't read it since I was forced to read it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it was one of those things where you read it and you're like, oh wow, that was actually a little more accessible than I thought the 2,700-year-old story was going to be. But like, so the movie, I thought it was very good. I don't think it's Nolan's best. Like the 97% Rotten Tomatoes thing is a little crazy to me. Like, I don't think it's in the caliber of like The Prestige or Inception or Dark Knight, which would become my picks for his top things. I know a lot of people like Interstellar, but I'm not a huge fan.
I liked it.
I like all of his stuff. The only Nolan movies I don't like are Dark Knight Rises and Tenet.
I couldn't finish Tenet.
Tenet's bad.
I didn't finish it.
Tenet's bad.
Yeah, everybody said it was awesome. And I got like an hour and 10 minutes into it, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
And even he admits that it doesn't really make any sense. Like the pivot doesn't make any sense. He's just like, just please go with it. And it's just like, I appreciate that he said it that way. I'm like, I mean,
he's being honest.
Look, man, the thing he wanted to depict in that movie is impossible.
Right.
So it's like, yeah,
there's
going to be a weak link there, and you just got to go with it. I wasn't able to fully go with it, but like,
would you recommend people go see the Odyssey?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it actually is probably the best film adaptation of the Odyssey. That is not a high bar. To be clear, the only other really good film adaptation is probably the 1951 Ulysses. I
don't even remember that.
It's dated but good. There's a lot of cool effects in it. Like there's a lot of cool
for the 50s.
Yeah, I mean the Cyclops is actually a very cool effect.
Really?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
This one, I mean they hit all the main beats. It's different in structure and sort of theme from the original because it has to be, because the theme of the original is basically like, hey, if you're a hubristic dickhead and you insult the gods will smack you down.
Yeah.
And that's not really something we believe anymore. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Mr. President? And so the theme on this is a little more like transgressing what we know to be right will lead to the end of all of us.
Yeah.
Which is a more relevant theme. The problem is, so they do get into some of the archaeological elements of the Bronze Age collapse, which happened around the time of the fall of Troy. And they mentioned the Sea Peoples, which is a pretty cool thing to tie in if you know that archaeological era. But like in service to the American audience that doesn't understand the little words on the page, they're very blatant about talking about this. And like, so there's a radio show from long ago called The History of the United States, Part 1 and 2 by Stan Freberg. And there's a skit in it where Francis Scott Key is trying to sell a marketing campaign to a shopkeeper in 1810. And the shopkeeper eventually says, nah, I can't afford to put a man on the road right now. We're not with the War of 1812 coming on and all. And I thought of that every time someone in this movie talks about the Bronze Age collapsing, because they didn't know they were in the Bronze Age. And like, there's like one.
They definitely didn't know it was going to collapse.
There's one moment where like Damon actually says like, it's like this glorious Bronze Age of ours is collapsing or something like very similar to that. I'm like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's it's so on the nose.
That's movie making though.
But also, like you see like reactions
it
today, and it was barely on the nose enough for anyone to understand what was happening.
Yeah,
so I was like, so I guess you had to, but it's like, you know what? These people aren't going to get this anyway, so just fucking make it good.
Yeah,
like, don't bother with that.
I would say that about all movies,
yeah,
man.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
But overall, like, you know, it's all very well done. It's not 100% accurate in terms of some stuff's combined with it, but it hits all the major story beats. It gets you there. It does cut out a lot of the crying. There's a lot of crying in that book, and it cuts out a lot of the stuff where like they almost get home and then one of them, like the crew or Odysseus, does something stupid and they get blown away off course, and you're like, these people aren't cursed by Poseidon, they're just morons.
Stupidity.
Like, yeah. But that is part of like the horrible, like you're fated to do the stupid shit by the gods. Like, but we don't really think of it like that anymore.
We're just like, that person's stupid.
But overall, it's you know, everything, you know, it's all on film. It's all on the IMAX cameras. It is dedicated to Keely's father.
Yeah,
at the end,
the whole film is
dedicated to him at the end of the title cards.
Wow.
Which is cool, you know, because obviously
they were good buddies.
They were good buddies. Nolan's an IMAX guy, obviously.
Yeah.
It all looks gorgeous. All the effects are as practical as they can be. Like there's like a lot of invisible CGI, but like, you know, like the giants in the plate armor, which yes, that's anachronistic, but they're in unreality world by then, and anything can be there. Also, you know what's unrealistic? Fucking 12-foot giants. What are you fucking
stuff
talking
always
about?
Makes me funny or makes me laugh when people like nitpick those things.
But like the
the
Cyclops is mostly a puppet, like an animal. Like you know.
I heard it was all practical.
And it all looks great, and like I think better than any adaptation I've seen, this captures that thing where like when they're in Troy and Ithaca, like they don't live in like D&D world. They live in the normal human world, and over the course of the journey, shit gets weirder and scarier and creepier and otherworldlier, and this captures that better than anything I've ever seen. Like as they go to each different place, they run into some new horror and some new thing. Like the Circe section is so well done. It's the most like visceral depiction of that I've ever seen. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to tell you what I'm talking about, because I want you to see it and realize that like these people, you know, that's the thing that drives me crazy when it comes to people talking about like, oh, these stories about things must be real. These things, people have always had imaginations. Like if you change the language and you make it like into the medium like this, like a film medium that we recognize and use every day as modern humans, like this is just as imaginative and crazy and wild as like stuff we'd come up with today on our own.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know this was based on a 27-year-old poem, like you might just think Christopher Nolan wrote it, because like there's some stuff in here that like feels like something that would come out of a comic book today, because comic books are modern myths, and like there's an element of that to it too. Also because half the people in this movie have been in the Marvel movies, so there's a lot of things where you're like, oh, it's just Spider-Man and the Punisher having a conversation about the guy who played Loki in Thor Ragnarok,
I wonder if people thousands of years from now will argue if like the abilities of the Avengers, like,
well, it's like
if they were real.
If Spider-Man wasn't real, why did they write all this stuff about it?
Right.
That's literally the same.
That's exactly
argument.
what I'm saying. I know.
So I think it was very good. If you can see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, absolutely do it. I know there's only like 40 theaters in the country that can do that, and now, I don't know if you saw, but somebody noted that like they basically can't make any more 70 millimeter film projectors anymore, because you'd have to basically the people that know how to do that all died or retired, so you'd have to tear one down to the parts, list
and they don't want to,
and it's not worth it, because the 70 millimeter like audience is basically mostly served already, and it would make no financial sense to do all that to make more projectors. So what we got is what we got. Everything else can be digital. So I think it's absolutely worth seeing in the theater. I think it's more worth seeing in the theater than anything else, especially if you can see it in IMAX, because then you get to see the whole frame.
Right. Before they chop it.
I do wish Nolan would figure out a way to release these things on home video that like either I can choose to have the CinemaScope ratio, or I can choose the IMAX framing, because I'd like to see the whole picture sometimes.
Of course,
he does frame it well to not feel like that most of the time, but like it just feels like you don't have all the movie, you know.
Yep.
So I would say it's see it as is intended. I mean, obviously Nolan's movies are supposed to be seen in the theater. And I really enjoyed it. It's I wouldn't put it in his top echelon of stuff, but like middle of the road Nolan is like better than most people manage in their whole career. So
that's true.
Here we are.
All right, there you go. There's Matt's review of the Odyssey. All right, it's time to get on with GameFace 489 proper. And of course, as we always do, we're kicking off this episode with the headline of the week from VideoGame.Town. VideoGame.Town is a brand new independent gaming website. It's not owned by some huge conglomerate. In fact, the owner may be in our chat right now. I don't know if you are, Jared. But much like SIFTD, it is a homegrown publication where they're trying to do something big with whatever means that they have. And one of the cool things that they've decided to do is scoop up a bunch of writers as they leave. We just learned about a bunch of more layoffs at more publications this week. It seems like every week either there's layoffs or another publication closes, or it seems like it's being run by AI, as I've said a couple times on the show. But VideoGame.Town is scooping up the real human beings that are being let go at those publications and letting them write about pretty much anything geek that they want to. There's a lot of gaming coverage over there. There's also just a lot of movies, film, TV stuff there as well. If you're like us, and I know you are, you wouldn't be watching a 3-hour podcast about gaming if you weren't. Head on over to VideoGame.Town, and that URL is VideoGame.Town, Town. You can do cool stuff with your URLs these days, and that's what they're doing. So head on over to VideoGame.Town, check out their Patreon, help them out if you can, listen to their podcasts. They're doing a bunch of cool stuff over there. Go to VideoGame.Town. And they sponsor the headline of the week, and this week's headline was easy. The last few weeks it's been hard to decide what we wanted to lead the show off with, but this week it was easy, because Bethesda this week decided to spill the beans, basically, on everything it's doing. And Matt, we kind of talked about this in the show open a little bit, but people jump around and don't watch our whole show all the way through. But we did talk a little bit about how this may be in some way Bethesda's way of trying to smooth over some rough waters from the Xbox layoffs, because we heard all these people who used to work at Bethesda saying, oh, this is actually going to set the Elder Scrolls 6 back. There was the whole story about how some employees there made a makeshift memorial to the people who were laid off, and Bethesda HR made them take it down. So I felt like Bethesda's name was starting to get dragged through the mud a little bit, and I cannot think of another person on planet Earth who would care more about that than Todd Howard. And so this week, Todd Howard stepped out and just basically spilled the beans on everything that Bethesda is doing right now. First up, Elder Scrolls 6 is their big focus. We've shared that for a while now. That kind of came out during the Xbox reset layoffs, that Bethesda was going to start shifting its focus to Elder Scrolls 6. Well, then people read the reports from employees saying that, like, oh, well, they're saying that they're not going to be able to get the game done in time. Well, now basically Todd has come out and said, this is our focus. So we pulled a bunch of people from other projects they were working on. They're now working on the Elder Scrolls 6. He did not promise anything as far as a release date, a year, any time frame at all. He simply said that it is now the studio's full focus. So who knows how much they got done on the Elder Scrolls at that point before, they got taken off and put on Starfield. Who knows what's been going on there?
Swan Senpai, Todd Howard still has a job because he is the only person on the planet who knows how to make one of these.
Yeah.
It really is that simple. Like, no one else makes these things because it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who's done it successfully. Obviously, he wasn't the only one, but he's the only one who has the leadership experience on something like this.
Yep. As far as Elder Scrolls stuff is concerned, they're not really working, or they didn't announce really any other Elder Scrolls projects that they're working on. They really are just like, Elder Scrolls 6, that's it. That's all we're doing.
I mean,
now,
that's what they got to do. I mean, obviously, online's still going to keep going on its own thing, but that's not involving them directly.
But, that studio also said that now they've lost half of their team, and updates aren't going to come out as often. They did say about the Elder Scrolls Online, though, that they are going to start paying attention to what they're doing with Fallout in that game now. Like, they're going to start, like, if there's a big event that happens in one of the mainline games, they're going to somehow try to do a crossover to incorporate it more. Because Elder Scrolls Online has kind of just been doing its own thing all this time. So they're going to try to incorporate those franchises together a little bit better in the future. But really, all the big news around Bethesda was all about Fallout. So Fallout 5...
It would be fun to see some death claws pop up in Elder Scrolls sometime.
Just because.
It's fucking magic. I don't have to explain shit.
I don't care. Yeah. So Fallout 5 has moved into pre-production. And along with that announcement, they also announced that Obsidian is working on a Fallout game. Now, here's the thing. They announced that Fallout 5 went into pre-production. They also announced that there are either remakes or remasters coming for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. So, Matt, what do you think Obsidian is working on? You think they're working on Fallout 5 or
They're working on something else.
Yeah?
They're not working on the remasters. They're working on a new game.
So you think Fallout 5?
No, I think Bethesda's doing Fallout 5.
So they're working on a Fallout that wasn't announced by Todd this week?
I think they're doing something else. Yeah, I don't think Todd would let them do 5, or not call it 5. Like, maybe it would be considered 5, but wouldn't be called 5.
Why wouldn't the remaster of Fallout New Vegas be perfect for Obsidian?
Because they've already done it.
Do you think they won't want to?
No, I don't think they'd want to.
So Fallout New Vegas 2, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, is there anything else to do in New Vegas at that point?
I don't know.
Like, honestly, just let them make a Fallout game. Let them set it wherever the fuck they want. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Like, anything. Let Obsidian make a Fallout game. What would it? No, I don't care. Just make a Fallout game. You guys, just go make a Fallout game. Well, wherever you want to set it. You can put it in the desert. You can put it in the ocean. You can put it in Brazil. I don't care. Like, make a Fallout game.
Yeah.
We haven't seen what's going on in England. Go do that. I don't know. Like, make a fucking Fallout game. Like, I trust those guys. I don't know what else there is to explore in the New Vegas region, really. Like, feel like that game kind of covered it.
It feels like, based upon the stuff that Asha's been saying and how they want to focus on their big franchises and maximize their studios, it does feel like Obsidian might be making Fallout 5.
Maybe.
It feels like this is the Xbox saying, no, Todd. We're changing.
If they are, then I think that was kind of like someone must have had a real talk with Todd.
Come to Jesus talk. Yeah. Well, I think maybe when he came back to work one day and he saw that like 40% of his employees were gone.
I think I will also be a little surprised if they call it Fallout 5.
Yeah.
I think from now on, I think the Fallout series should just be Fallout :
subtitle.
Setting.
Yeah.
Like location, basically.
That makes sense. I don't think people would care.
No, I mean, that's what the Elder Scrolls basically is. I mean, everyone calls the Elder Scrolls by their location subtitles. Like, most people don't even know they're called the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I would say is I think that Obsidian is making the next mainline Fallout game, whatever that may be. And I agree with you. I don't think that they would waste the time of internal studios on the Fallout 3 or the Fallout New Vegas remasters or remakes.
Like, you probably want Obsidian's input on the New Vegas remaster, but you don't want to waste their actual time.
Just give it to a port studio and let them do it. Get a couple people from Obsidian or Bethesda to sit in a meeting once a month, go through their milestones with them.
I think this, whatever they're making, will be a new game, and it will be called something else. It'll be called Fallout place it takes place.
Yeah.
And basically leaving the door open for if 80-year-old Todd Howard decides he wants to call Bethesda's next Fallout game Fallout 5, he can. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably time to stop numbering the Fallouts.
That's probably a good idea. And you're right. That would be a way to let Todd still get to be the one who releases Fallout 5.
Nox Eternitatis says that Obsidian isn't working on 5. It's in the announcement that is another project. That's what I thought I read, but I wasn't sure.
Okay. But look, it would be a waste of time to let Obsidian just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah. And you can't keep having them make Outer Worlds over and over again because apparently no one cares.
B-tier games. Yeah, I mean, you can't let them keep making B-tier games. They need to make games in the big franchises like Fallout. And
I would argue that Avowed and Outer Worlds are A-tier games in terms of quality.
Yeah.
They don't sell.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, they just don't resonate with people. Also, a Fallout Shelter TV show is coming, unscripted, like a reality show.
That's weird.
And also, Fallout Shelter is going to start getting updates again. It has like 250 million players.
Like, at least someone over there has finally realized that it's stupid that they don't have like something to drive people to from this show to benefit themselves.
They're going all in. They also said, season 3 of the TV show is working at Amazon right now, and they're in the works on all that stuff too.
I think they probably got 2 or 3 more seasons left of that thing because it's got momentum now. As long as the quality keeps up and the people who make that show or something. I mean, that's a Nolan thing too. Mm-hmm. That's his brother.
Yep. They also announced that both the Elder Scrolls 6 and the next mainline Fallout are being developed using the Creation Engine 3, the same tech that powered Starfield. How do you feel about that one?
I think we've lost that battle forever. Like, they're never going to move on to something new. The tool sets they've built for that are clearly too specified for what they build these games to be, and starting over in another engine is clearly not of interest to them. So,
I actually read an article about that engine this week. Somebody who used to work at Bethesda talked about why they keep using this engine, and he said it's just really easy to use.
That's what I mean. It's the tool set is there. It does exactly what they want it to do, and even if some of it's pretty clunky in places, I mean, Starfield's entirely functional. In that regard.
It's a fine-looking game.
They need to figure out a way to make this stuff feel more seamless. But again, you don't really have that problem in Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Like, the problem with Starfield was you couldn't seamlessly transition from place to place to place.
Yeah.
That's not a problem when you don't have a spaceship.
Yeah, when you're just on the ground at all times. Yeah.
It was never built for that.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know that I have too much of a objection to them using that engine again. My big complaints with Starfield weren't the graphics.
No. Starfield
the game looks
fine.
Yeah. It's not a stunner or anything. It's not like nominated for best graphics.
I mean, look, some of the mods do make it a stunner. Like the Star Wars mod is fantastic. Like they tweaked a bunch of stuff and it looks amazing. Like, yeah. The problem is the limited what you're limited to in terms of what already exists in terms of toolset. They need to not be afraid to really expand it out and push the envelope with some of it. And I think Obsidian is always good at that. So if Obsidian can work on that and kind of give that, if Obsidian can give Fallout the kind of melee and ranged combat feel that Outer Worlds and Avowed have, then you're looking at something special.
Yeah. Yep. And then he also said that Starfield's not done, that there's new Starfield content coming in 2027.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is too sunk, and again, this thing's too sunk cost to like abandon like that, but also there's something here.
Yeah,
there's a good game in here somewhere.
I agree.
They can find it if they have the time and money to get there. I don't know if they will, but like, it's here. Like, there is no reason a Bethesda-style open-world space opera game shouldn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll tell you, you play that Star Wars mod, and it does work. A lot of it is the writing.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the motivation.
It really is, yeah.
A lot of it is the setting.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not very interesting right now.
I agree with that.
But as soon as you put blasters, lightsabers, and stormtroopers in it, I'm fucking in.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid to some degree. That's how easy it is to, like, jangle the keys in front of me. But it's like, it really did help that I didn't have to listen to these bland-ass characters anymore, and now everybody was a fucking Star Wars alien. Like, it really made a difference that I wasn't just staring at a bunch of boring people anymore.
Todd also announced that Fallout 76 is kind of going to do what I also said about Elder Scrolls Online. It's going to start incorporating stuff from the other Fallout games so that there's that connective tissue there, so people aren't going over to Fallout 76 and being like, what the hell is this? Like, this isn't what I thought Fallout was going to be. So they're going to start merging Fallout 76 with the more single-player based content, which is probably a smart idea.
Sure.
But, you know, it's Fallout 76, so does
There's
anybody
only so
care?
much you can do there, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the thing that also bugs me about Fallout 76 is, like, I really like the choice of setting for that. Like, the West Virginia thing is a really cool, is a different place. You know,
it is, yeah.
One of the interesting things about different games in the Fallout series is seeing what happened to these other places. And, like, that was the fun part of Fallout 3. It was like, oh, we've never been on the East Coast before. We've never seen Washington, D.C. Like, it was cool to see that. Like, and, like, I feel like the nature of this game holds me back from exploring that because I find how it plays to be so off-putting.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
I imagine you even would be more because you're from over there. Like
that area.
You know what that area is.
I saw a video not long ago of a guy who lives in West Virginia who was going around the state trying to find the locations that they ended up putting in Fallout 76, which I found kind of interesting. But, you know, this game never resonated with me.
No.
I went back and tried it again after people said it was changed and fixed and whatnot, and it still didn't resonate with me. I don't think I'll ever go back, even if they do start incorporating stuff.
The other thing, and this is very weird and probably petty, but this Starfield, Fallout 4, I hate that when you walk over a corpse or a container, it just automatically opens it.
Yeah.
I want to press the button
to
look in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why that's important to me, but I have to make the choice to open the corpse.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I went back to Fallout 3 for a bit and New Vegas, and it's so much more satisfying to press the A button to open a corpse. As opposed to just like walking by and all of a sudden these boxes keep popping up everywhere. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah. And then Todd put out a bunch of quotes that Bethesda then put in a press release. I'm going to read through a couple of them here just so you kind of understand what's going on there. Quote, we're investing more deeply in the world's players love, giving creators a bigger role in shaping their experiences and bringing our teams closer together so we can get our games into your hands sooner, support them longer, and continue building them alongside you for decades to come. We've believed from the beginning that our worlds belong not only to the people who make them, but also to the people who play them. That's why we've long provided players with the tools to create their own experiences, dating back to the Morrowind construction set.
God, they need to get over that shit. Like, focus on making interesting quests and storylines and character arcs and stop trying to get me to fucking build shit. Like, these are not carpentry simulators. Stop it. Like, make good games. Why is this sim thing gotten in here and like corrupted all this shit?
I hear you.
Like, it was never... Hearthstone was not interesting. Like, I would build the things because you forced me to build them as part of the quest, and then I would never look at them again.
Yeah.
Like, I do not understand why that became such... I know some people enjoy it, but like especially in Starfield, it felt like that was way too focused on. And even the post-launch support has been too focused on some of that.
Yeah.
And the only real purpose of the bases and the base building in Starfield seemed to be to break the economy of the game.
Like that's what they did.
Yeah, it's all it's like you can build, I don't care. I don't even care about the base building in No Man's Sky really. Like, but at least that is easy and fast and like has a cool like tie-in for things. Like building a base in Starfield or like Fallout 4, like who cares?
It was annoying.
It doesn't do anything. Like, it just sits there. It doesn't.
Well, it would get attacked. You have to set, but otherwise,
yeah, but it's just more work to do.
But then you wonder, it's like, why is my building getting attacked, but they don't attack all the other buildings that are
all the stuff that I didn't build doesn't ever get attacked?
Yeah.
I've been to this town 4,000 times. No raider has ever shown up since the first time I showed up and got rid of him.
Yep. So are you surprised at all that they didn't announce some sort of new remaster or remake for the Elder Scrolls like they did for Oblivion, like a Morrowind or something like that?
I mean, if there is a Morrowind remaster, like it's got to be so early. I mean, where's the bandwidth for that? And it doesn't make a lot of sense because right now the only thing Elder Scrolls that matters is 6. You got to get 6 out. Yeah, you got to get 6 out.
I mean, my guess is that they would have somebody else.
And there's no Skyrim TV show. There's no Elder Scrolls TV show. The thing you focus on Elder Scrolls to get it out because Skyrim is a beast, and you focus on Fallout because you have a hit TV show that you need to drive people to another money maker that benefits you more directly on something that is not tied into a TV production. Like, the fact that they didn't have a Fallout game ready to go for that is insane. Will always be insane.
It still is.
Even just a remaster of New Vegas for Season 2 would have been the most no-brainer, because Season 2 is so heavily New Vegas.
It's all about New Vegas. There was no planning at all.
Like, the fact that there's no way to go play New Vegas easily, except, like, this ancient, creaky version that crashes all the time, when you, like, watch that show and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in that game now. Well, too fucking bad, asshole. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is.
Planned
it
for.
just shows poor planning,
a
lack of planning at all.
Or just a lack of, like, awareness.
Or maybe thinking that the show wasn't going to do well.
But they knew the show was doing well. By the time you saw that first episode, you knew you had something.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't hit and people ignore it, but probably not. You watch that first episode and you know you got something special.
Yeah.
Especially compared to all the other slop that's out there right now on streaming. So, like, the fact that they didn't immediately put a New Vegas remaster of some kind, even just one that, like, just generally made it function properly on a modern platform, because that stuff is real janky. Like, I'm not even talking about, like, make the graphics look better. I'm talking about, like, make sure it doesn't fucking die.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. Although they definitely need to make the graphics look better.
Too. But, like, just in the immediate, like, oh wow, like, we got like a year and a half to get something in place for this.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
This is Morrowind that you're seeing, by the way. If you haven't seen it for a long time, it definitely could use a remake.
Well, there is the fan, Morrorim, I think it is, where putting Morrowind in Skyrim, basically. But again, similar to what they were doing with Oblivion before the Oblivion remaster came out. And Bethesda basically said, hey, what you guys are doing with Oblivion is awesome, keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, they clearly don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
They are willing to make their own remasters of these things and let the fan remasters coexist alongside them. So I think Morrowind would be a cool one to do eventually. Just, once 6 is out and kind of run its course, you could do a really nice Morrowind remake, because Morrowind is different from everything that came after it. And it's in a very weird part of the
Skywind chat saying is what it's called.
Skywind, yeah.
They also need to add a sprint button to the Fallout 3 remake, please. Thoughtless Kyle.
Yeah.
I mean, all these games need some work. Like, even Oblivion could use some work.
Yeah, like the thing with, you're overburdened, you can't run, you can't sprint anymore. I'm like, I've been sprinting this whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm moving. So I was like, unless you're playing in third person, you don't realize your character's always running.
You're right. Yep. So, Matt, now that we've gone through all the information from Bethesda about this, how do you feel? Do you feel better about Bethesda's future than you did when we did the show last week?
I mean, I don't know about Bethesda's future. I feel better about Fallout's future because it's not reliant on Bethesda anymore. Mm-hmm. That's really it.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we're going to let other people...
Bethesda is off the board until they get Elder Scrolls
6 done.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna be years from now. So, I mean,
how many years do you think it's going to be?
I still think it's going to be 2030. I've been saying that for years.
That's another 3 years. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think they're going to say 2029. It's going to end up 2030.
Mm-hmm. Another 2 to 3 years.
But I've always said 2030 for that game.
Yeah. I would say generally, I think this was a bunch of BS.
Probably.
I
also think that I think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have to run on whatever their next thing is.
You think?
I'm not entirely, but it's going to be one of those things where if you're playing it on a current gen thing, like what we have right now, it's going to be like, ugh. Yeah. Unless you're on PC. Obviously, PC is a different beast. But on consoles, I feel like if they've been working on this thing this long and they backburned it in favor of Starfield, it's because something they're doing with that is going to need the power.
Yeah. I think this is mostly damage control, trying to repair the reputation of Bethesda from the last couple weeks. I do think that some of the information they gave us was new.
Trying to a little bit assert that they're still sort of their own entity.
They're trying.
Microsoft. Well, I don't believe that, really.
It doesn't feel that way.
Because some of this stuff, like the Obsidian stuff, feels like they were told.
Yeah.
Like, you have to let these people work on this thing they're very good at and arguably better at it than you are.
Yeah.
Or were. I mean, who knows how many people...
Who knows now?
But again, the corporate culture at Obsidian remembers that. There are people in charge at Obsidian that were there for that.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy who runs Obsidian is one of the creators of KOTOR. Mm-hmm. Like, they have not lost their whole creative
They got
team.
crew there still, for sure.
So, yes, you should have handed You should have. I mean, again, they weren't interested in working with Bethesda. It sounded like for a while, but like now, it's. I would have to imagine that Microsoft basically said, "Let them do this and leave them the fuck alone unless they ask you a question."
Well, Todd had to answer a question this week after he released these statements about Obsidian. People were like, "So you guys still hate each other?" He's like, "What? I'm so sick of answering this stupid ass question. No, we don't hate each other. Like we work together. We are colleagues. Like please stop." But for whatever reason, there's this weird thing on the internet where everybody thinks Bethesda and Obsidian like hate each other.
It's because of the bonus thing that happened that they denied them,
right?
And because the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy in charge who ran New Vegas, basically like somebody asked a few years ago, and he's like, I have no interest in working with them again. Like, and he didn't say it in a vitriolic way.
Yeah.
But it's like I certainly understand where like if that had happened, like it's like, well, why would you want to be in that situation again? Because clearly Bethesda would be in charge.
Yeah,
they owned Fallout at the time.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's more like with Daddy Microsoft making everybody play a little more.
Now you're just brother and brother instead of older brother or whatever.
Yeah. And it matters more that like Microsoft likes it rather than or Asha likes it rather than Todd likes it maybe.
But I do think a lot of this was damage control. But I also do think that a lot of the information that Todd Howard shared is new information. Like I think Asha,
I mean, look, damage control or not, like clarity on what the fuck is happening with these properties is good.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so weird that they were. I mean, Fallout's been MIA for how? I mean, certainly if you don't care about Fallout 76, Fallout has been MIA for
a long time. Yep. The whole gen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, I think this was damage control, but I'm glad to hear it. I guess is what I would put it. It's good to hear all this verbalized, and because once you say it in public, you're going to be held to it.
Somewhat.
Vaguely.
I mean, what are you going to be held to? It's like, okay, if Elder Scrolls 6 is not out in 2030, what are we going to do? Like storm the place with pitchforks?
No, I'm talking about like the Fallout 3 remaster and the New Vegas remaster and Obsidian working on Fallout.
But same thing. If that doesn't, what are we going to do? Like vote them out? Like there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, it's going to happen. Like Obsidian's going to make a Fallout. It may get canceled because they can't do it or whatever. Who knows? It could be canceled, but bottom line is they're going to make one.
Yeah.
And even if it's canceled, like this stuff still.
But there's also a good chance we might be playing that around the same time we're playing Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh yeah, I mean I believe that. I think they're eventually going to have to figure out what year they want to release each one.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to release them in the same year. I guarantee you that.
I mean, Obsidian might be able to get Fallout out faster than that.
Because they're great. And they don't take forever to do stuff.
They make decisions quicker.
Yeah.
And they made Outer Worlds 2
in like 3 or 4 years while they were making Avowed.
And that game's gigantic.
I know.
I mean, Obsidian is bigger than people think it is.
They are.
Like they had 4 full teams at one point.
Yeah.
It's a big company.
Yeah.
But again, it's not hundreds and hundreds of people in every project. So they
you're right.
Still get it done.
Obsidian's going to leave Bethesda in the dust. It's going to get its project done way faster. And they've already been working on the Elder Scrolls 6 for how many years now?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I maintain the most important thing to get out as fast as possible is the Fallout 3 remaster.
Yeah.
That is the most I mean, it's the gateway game for everyone.
Everybody.
To 3D Fallout.
Everybody.
Like,
yep. Pactor still talks about Fallout 3 like it came out last week.
Yeah, Fallout 3. I mean, as someone who loved Wasteland and played Fallout because it was the best thing I could get next to Wasteland 2 at the time, and I like Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember playing Fallout 3, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And like none of the ones after that ever captured that again for me. There's something about those giant ants and the homages to the 50s sci-fi stuff. Like it captured something that the other games just don't have. Even New Vegas. New Vegas is a different beast. I understand why some people like it better. I do not. Fallout 3.
Me either.
Fallout 3 is the pinnacle of the 3D Fallout era for me.
I think most people agree with that.
Nothing beats Fallout 2. But I don't expect people who weren't there at the time to think. Yeah,
I wouldn't ask people to go play it now.
No, I wouldn't put Fallout 2 in the hands of someone who's never played Fallout 2 before.
Jam Rain asks, would they ever remake 1 and 2, but with the style of gameplay of 3, 4, and New Vegas?
That would be interesting. I think 2 would translate to the 3D style pretty well. The issue is that the Bethesda era of Fallout is actually a very different continuity, and a lot of the ideas and portrayals of different factions and things in 1 and 2 simply don't match up to how they are. Like the Brotherhood of Steel in those games is not the Brotherhood of Steel in the Bethesda.
No, you're right.
So it would be you're either basically doing something that's going to confuse a lot of people that didn't play those games back in the day
or have watched the TV show,
or you're going to change all of it to the point that it's not the same game anymore. Which is, adaptations are adaptations, but you're just gonna piss somebody off doing that. So it's probably better just leave them alone.
The other thing Bethesda, I believe, is gonna have to come to grips with here very soon is that for most people, their connection with Fallout is the TV show.
Yeah.
And so
that's your gateway drug now.
For people like us who are like, hey, you're straying away from Fallout 1 and 2, they're going to be like, wait a minute, you're straying away from the TV show. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, wait, he did this and they did that.
Luckily, Jonah Nolan and his team on the show were very inspired by Fallout 3 in New Vegas. So, like, those are the two most important Fallout things to get out, because Fallout 3 is essentially the source material for the first season, and New Vegas is source material for the second season. Who knows what they're going to do for the next? I imagine they've built the foundation; they can go anywhere they want. Now. And also because I'm sure Microsoft and Bethesda trust them to kind of strike out on their own in the world now. They might be able to start building their own their elements now, which would be cool. Like the more people contributing to the Fallout stew, the better, I think, because it's a collaborative effort. And again, you're dealing with very brilliant creatives on this show. They're some of the best in the business, I would say.
They really are.
Not even just with Fallout, but there's some of the people working on that show make incredible stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Like, you're talking about some people that were involved in Chernobyl and all that. I mean, and
Prestige TV,
Prestige, the Westworld. You're talking about the guy who wrote the Prestige,
right?
For God's sake,
that's funny.
So it's like, let that happen. Like, stop, like, decentralize this thing a little bit. Make it something that everybody gets to work on. And remember, like, the audience that watched that TV show is bigger than any potential audience you ever had for that game before. And if you can give them something that lets them get into that and play it and be in that world and love it and always want more, there's your fucking Fallout 5 audience, boys.
Yeah.
Like this is not rocket science. This is basic marketing. Like, I can't believe it took this like crazy come to Jesus like new leader of Xbox thing to get all the ducks in a row on this.
Phil was just letting them float along, man.
Years late.
Phil asleep at the wheel.
What was he doing?
Nothing. Majora Tom Leet over on YouTube says, I want to be optimistic for these developments from Bethesda, but I'm finding it hard to be optimistic for the future of gaming right now. I only hope these feelings of doubt pass. I mean, I can understand it, man. Things are just crazy right now.
I don't think you reasonably lose those feelings of doubt until these games are in your hands and aren't trash.
Well, I think he's talking about just like gaming in general right now. Sure. Like, it's just kind of a crap show, unfortunately.
Well, that's everything.
You're right.
The thing that drives me nuts right now is all the people saying stuff like that about the game industry. It's like, it's every industry. It's everything. Everything is doing this right now.
I talked about this at a wedding.
We see it more directly because we see it more directly because we're more involved in this and we we care about it. But like everything is like that.
Yeah. Every industry right now is all in turmoil. It's really crazy. Joaquin Dragoon, we need a Fallout Puerto Rico or Mexico. Let it happen. I mean, it just takes so long for Fallout anything.
I would be utterly down with a with a Fallout Mexico.
I would be down with anything. I just want more Fallout.
Yeah. I would love to see Fallout Mexico. I would love to see Fallout London. I would love Fallout Mexico City specifically would be. I would love to see Fallout London. I would love to see Fallout Berlin.
Yeah.
I would love to see. I would love to see Fallout Cairo. I'd like to see Africa. I'd like to see what happened there.
We won't see half of those.
Probably no,
because we'll be dead long before. We'll be lucky to see another 3 Fallout games before we die. At this rate,
I intend to live forever.
So. Well, lucky you. JJ Forcebreaker, I'm more excited about Fallout Bakersfield, a fan mod, than a new official game. Swan Senpai asks, does Fallout actually have canon? To me, it's all its own stories.
Yeah, it does. It's just most of it doesn't matter.
Yeah. There's certain tenets that sort of carry across all of them.
There are rules and there are overarching themes and there are specific factions that are what they are. The Brotherhood of Steel, the coalition or whatever, the thing that Malcolm McDowell was in charge of in 3, the Church of whatever. I mean, I don't actually care that much about it. But yeah, there is a set lore to Fallout that like is built on, and like people agree or disagree with how Bethesda has built off of it.
Yeah, JJ Forcebreaker, maybe the best comment on this whole thing. These announcements about numerous pre-production projects come off as pretty desperate.
Oh yeah, let's be honest. This is literally the same thing they did when they announced Fallout 76 and they announced Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 the same day to distract you from the fact that nobody wanted a live service Fallout game.
Yeah,
and here we are. Still waiting 8 years later for Elder Scrolls 6.
I mean, to announce all these projects and all of them, to JJ's point, are in pre-production or just being thought about right now.
Which, if you go back to when they announced that, and we were talking about it, I never thought Elder Scrolls 6 was soon.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that game is 8-9 years out. Like, because they got to get Starfield out first.
Yeah.
And then we get Elder Scrolls. And I was like, oh, no, they're working on them together. They're both going to be out. I mean, no. Like,
well, Starfield did end up being, like, coming in later than it was
a lot longer
supposed
than it was supposed to.
And yeah.
But I always thought Elder Scrolls was years and years away.
You did. You said that from the beginning. You absolutely did.
And because Bethesda really only does one thing at a time.
Yeah. Yep. Erebus Jones says Morrowind can't be remastered. It's just too arcane. It would need to be remade. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree a billion percent.
Remake, absolutely.
A much bigger job. It's my favorite, but I didn't have a job, kids, wife, dog to occupy me. It was a big time suck.
I think it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could tweak it so you can't up your jump skill so you can leap over mountains anymore. That might be...
Thoughtless Kyle says Skyrim is also playable on anything that has a screen. And despite being old at this point, too, it still runs current gen. Like Fallout 4 is the only playable one on PlayStation after the 3.
Yeah. And Fallout 4, I would argue, is not going to give you the inroad. If coming off of the show, if you're coming off of the show and you start Fallout 4, I think that it is going to feel like a totally different franchise to you.
Yeah. Joaquin Dragon, I just didn't like how Fallout 76 came out. Apparently, they fixed all that.
Yeah, I tried. It has come a long way.
It's changed a lot, but I'll just be honest with you. I did try to go back and play it. I think it was like the middle or end of last year, and it still, to me, was not good. But I will say, I did notice that they had made a lot of changes and a lot of updates to it and a lot of tweaks. But still, to me, it was just very janky to play, and like the combat doesn't feel good, and I don't know. Swan Senpai says Fallout 4 on PS5 is still broken. Interesting. Ashes in the Hourglass says, how dare you, Matt? The jumping is the best part of Morrowind. Nothing better than jumping over entire towns.
Oh, I enjoyed that for sure, but it's ridiculous and probably isn't what the intended result was.
Definitely not. Yep. Well, there you go. There's our headline of the week for GameFace episode 489, courtesy of VideoGame.Town. Don't forget, head on over to VideoGame.Town to check out some of the best writing in the industry from some of the industry's best writers. They're doing a great thing over there. They're doing the Lord's work. Support them if you can. Check out their Patreon. Check out their podcast. Go to VideoGame.Town. All right.
I'll always think of Yu-Gi-Oh! Town. When
from one of our sketches on X-Play.
Sketches were like, it was just the Yu-Gi-Oh! Gang, and they would...
Yu-Gi-Ho.
Listen to the Yu-Gi-Ho! And they would beat up Billy, who wanted to play Pokemon, and Albert Iskander, our one of our producers, he was the lead guy. Just like, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Town, motherfucker! Yeah, and they just beat the shit out of the Pokemon kid. That was basically the whole joke.
And what was Elisa's role? She was
the Yu-Gi-Ho!
The Yu-Gi-Ho!
But the gag was that they were like these street tough dudes who beat the shit out of people, but all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Advice they gave was correct.
Yeah,
like they would, in the middle of beating people up, they would give like actual deck building strategy tips that were accurate. Like that was the joke.
That's great. That's X-Play, man. We did some pretty awesome stuff there. All right, it's time to move on. We're going to review our first game of GameFace 489. And now that you're looking at the upper third there, don't run away. Don't stop watching the show. Don't skip forward. I know you may be seeing Denshattack right now. You're like, what the heck is that? I haven't heard of that game.
Yes, you have.
You think people have?
It's been in all the... If you've been watching the events and the directs, then yeah, it's been in like 4 directs or something.
Yeah, I guess our audience.
Everybody knows the train stunt game. Like that was like that was one of the indie darling picks of all those events.
Yeah, people you just got to remember, I get to look at data and I get to see what people actually click on and what they watch, and like this is not a game that has been on people's radars for sure.
No, I mean look, I know about it. I certainly haven't clicked anything about it because I don't actually particularly care. But I remember that there was
Tony Hawk with trains.
Yeah, I remember the train doing a fucking edge grind. Yeah, like come on.
Well, Denshattack is here. It's available for PC, PS5, Xbox Series, Switch 2, and it's on Game Pass. And it's on Game Pass right now. And I guess now that I've played it, I wouldn't really call it Tony Hawk with trains. It's like Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam with trains.
Ooh.
It's more of like an on-rails...
And I don't even get to stand on a plastic train when I play it?
No. Oh, this is way better than that Tony Hawk game. That crappy one. What was it called? Tony Hawk's...
Was it...
where you got the plastic skateboard with it.
Was that Ride?
Yeah, I think it was. This is way better than that, for sure. This is also a very bizarre game. If you watch this, you probably will think, oh, this game is from Japan. It's actually not.
No, this is it's made by people who watch a lot of anime, though.
It is,
I'll tell you that.
For sure. But the basic setup, the plot of this is you follow a young girl named Emmy in this strange dystopian future. And when you first start playing the game, she's like a ramen delivery person that delivers ramen by train. It's bizarre.
Seems limiting.
And basically, it's the world has gone to hell, and most of the people who are affluent are living in these domed cities. And in between the domed cities, there are these networks of railroad tracks. And what has happened is the youth of Japan has become Denshattackers, who are basically these people who race trains across these tracks. And there's a whole class warfare thing going on here, where the people who live in the dome cities are the elites, and the people who live outside the domes are the scumbags who are eking out an existence and blah, blah, blah. That's a big part of the plot. Now, there aren't really, like, overt cutscenes in this.
Two very different takes on a similar subject between this and Replaced.
No, you're right, actually. It is a very similar setup, though. And here they're having fun out in the wastelands with the trains, and Replace, it's hell out there.
This actually reminds me a little. It's of a tabletop RPG called Slug Blaster, where like
I don't remember that.
Well, because it's fairly new. It's only a couple years old, and it's not super popular. But it is about basically dimensional travel has become a thing. Mm-hmm. And so there's these kids called Slug Blasters, and what they basically do is these kids go out and they use dimensional portals to go to other dimensions and basically hoverboard or skate, like do like extreme sports stuff in other dimensions, and like they get like prestige from like doing kick flips over quantum centipedes and shit like that. And then like all the enemies are like very weird, like otherworldly quantum things. Like the quantum centipede, if it catches you, it drains your life, your future. It digests your best futures first, so the longer you're caught by it, the worse your rest of your life will be. It's stuff like that. And then like at the end of every session, you have to sneak back into your house, and if you get caught, there are negative consequences that will affect your next play session in the game. So
that's crazy.
So basically, you're like going out on it's like going out to hang out and skate, except you're doing it in another dimension that could kill you.
Oh.
And so this is sort of has a little bit of that same vibe to me.
Interesting.
Where like the world is horrible and gone to hell, and there's incredible dangers, but like the kids are going to turn it into a fucking like a joy.
I mean, that's what this game's all about.
Yeah.
Eventually, Emmy bumps into this guy named Fernando, and he already knows about the whole Denshattack scene, and he becomes almost like her agent. Like he gets her into the scene, he sets up all the races, and he kind of becomes her sidekick throughout the entirety of the game. And then as the game progresses, eventually you discover that there's a bunch of gangs out there, Denshattack gangs, and you take on each gang. Once you defeat the gang leader for that gang actually joins your team, which is
very Jet Set Radio.
It is. I mean, this game does remind me of probably more of Jet Set Radio than it does of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, honestly, now that I've spent a lot of time playing it. But basically how it works is, like, you have... it's complicated, this game in general. Have you played it, Matt?
No.
Oh, you haven't played it? I'm surprised you didn't spend time with this. This game is complicated, and some people have been saying it's too hard. Now, if somebody's played a bunch of Tony Hawk and games like this in the past, I didn't find it that hard. Mostly because the way they have the checkpoints set up, they're very, very smart.
I feel like the ramen would have spilled.
The one thing I want to say is the people that made this game played the living hell out of this game. They get it. They know what it is that makes it special. They know what it is that makes it fun. And they have designed the game to make sure that there's nothing that gets in the way of that. So there are parts where it gets complicated because the game's a little bit more like it's more like a Simon Says than like a free form, like do whatever trick you want. You can do that. But the game itself, as you fly through the environments, there are visual cues that tell you what you need to do. So one ability you have is the ability to honk your horn. If you honk your horn, like the stuff that's on the track in front of you will just blow up and disintegrate. You also have the ability when you go around turns to almost do like a power slide. So when you're going around a turn, you squeeze the left trigger to where the meter gets to half, and you release it, and you get a big power boost coming out of that. You can also jump. Once you jump, you can use the right stick to do tricks, and the tricks are more like Street Fighter than they are Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It's not like a button combination or hold left and tap something twice. It's like half circle towards, half circle away, 3/4 circle towards. That's how you do the tricks in this. Now, the tricks are not a requirement. But one of the big things about this game is your score. Sort of that's what you're sort of playing for. At the end of each mission, you get scored based upon how long it took you to reach the end, how many tricks you did, how many of these random things that you collected throughout the course of the mission, etc., etc. So you do sort of have this push to make you get through it as fast as possible and to do tricks, but you can really do it however you want when it really comes down to it. And so the game becomes more of like Simon Says. So as you're flying through the track, there'll be like a red X. That tells you jump. And you don't have a lot of time to prepare for this stuff. So you have to like train your brain to see visual cues and then immediately respond to them. So you can see sometimes you're on multi-tracks where there's like 3 tracks wide. And there will be barriers. You have to like jump from one track to the next to go around the barriers. There you're seeing like sort of the power slide around the turns. And then once you jump, you can do these tricks if you want to. You don't have to. And the way the checkpoints are set up is like the whole game is kind of like how they said they used to make Halo, where they're like, yeah, we'll make this 15-second section that's really awesome, and then we'll just snap a bunch of awesome 15-second segments together. That's what they've done with this. So if you do crash or fail, literally the checkpoint takes you back like a quarter of a mile. And you never really have to complete more than like 5 or 6 things in a sequence to complete that sequence and move on to the next checkpoint. And the loading in this, as you're seeing in this, is like lightning. So if you fail, boom, 2 seconds later, you're back and you're trying it again. And it is just crazy addictive, this game. Here is like a trick attack. So I'm just trying to get as many tricks in as I can before the time runs out or whatever. So the missions in this are all different. There's stuff like that. There's missions where you have to just get a trick score before a certain amount of time expires. Most of the missions in this are linear. So it's like a race. You start at the beginning and then you end. Every once in a while, they'll throw you into missions where they're open world. And that's where it really feels like Jet Set Radio, because there's no time limit. All you have to do is collect X number of this things or find all of these things. And that's where you really like have to learn how to follow the tracks and where they go to make sure you access every area of the level. I'll be honest, the open world stuff in this, I did not like. I really like the linear track stuff. And again, it's more like a Simon Says than like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where you're being rewarded for being creative. Once you jump, then you can use the right stick to do the tricks or whatever, but it's all bonus. You don't have to do it. The most important thing in this game is just staying on the tracks and keeping going and trying to finish the track in a decent amount of time. Now, the other thing I'll say too is like they're not really stringent. Like, you'll think you did a terrible job and finish the track, and they still let you go on to the next one. This is one of those games where they want you to experience all the content, and then if you want to go back and get the perfect scores and the perfect ratings on each track, you can. Because you can go back in that map screen and replay anything that you want to. But they're not like jerks about like, man, you need to get at least like an A rank, or we're going to make you do this track over and over again. They don't do that in this. And that's also good because there's a ton of content in this, Matt. I have spent 12 hours playing this. I'm not done. Usually games like this, 6, 7 hours, you finished it. There is a ton of content in this game. And I'll be honest, there is no other game like this that I've ever played. Like, I know I've compared it to like 5 other games, but there's no one game that you can really say to somebody, this is what this game is. It really is a mashup of a bunch of really cool ideas simmered down into something that is better than the sum of its parts. There are platforming challenges or collectibles. There's specific objectives that are called dares. There's combat races where you have to run other racers off the track. There's just straight up races where you have to beat everybody. There's trick score goals, and then in each mission there's also an overall goal that more kind of ties into the pros of the game a little bit more, kind of an overarching thing that actually moves the plot forward, so that cutscene that happens after you finish each mission, there's something for them to talk about there. But yeah, like I said, the tricks are basically fighting game input. So it's not an easy game, but the way that they set up the checkpoints makes it easy, and it makes you just want to keep playing. At least that's the way it was for me. Also, like Tony Hawk, one thing that it does do similar is you get more points if you don't repeat tricks. So you don't want to do the same like up down on the right analog stick every trick. You want to try to mix up your tricks, and you get higher points and higher multipliers on your bonuses that way. And like I said, the game is just way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought I'd finish this in a few hours and be like, oh, that was a cool game. No, this game is gigantic and keeps on going, and it gets better and better as it goes. And it does really do a good job also of slowly building up your skills as you play the game. Like, I've been kind of surprised to see the response to this game online, that so many people think it's hard. Because I'm usually the one that's like, oh, you make the games too hard, I don't want to play them. I didn't find this game to be that way at all.
Maybe if you're going for the no crash dare.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really tough. Not crashing at all is really hard in this. Because again, they're throwing this stuff at you so fast. And it's like you have like 8 or 9 things that you can do, and they're just mixing them up. Like jump, power slide, do a trick here, collect this thing, slide over to this rail real fast to collect this spray can. It's just your brain is just constantly engaged playing through this game. And it's just awesome. Like, this is one of those games where you got to focus. You can't have a conversation with somebody while you're playing this. You can't focus on a podcast while you're playing this. You got to zone in and make sure that you're paying attention, or otherwise you're just going to keep wiping out. So I've had a blast with Denshattack, and I'll just be honest, it is one of my Game of the Year contenders for 2026. It's definitely, as of right now, my indie Game of the Year, without a doubt. Again, games like this, usually they don't last very long. They're usually like a proof of concept. Well, let's make this little game and see if people like it, and then we'll really go all in. No. They went all in on this from the get-go. Now, one thing I will say, that B-roll just showed right there are some inconsistencies in this game that could drive you mad. So they showed a billboard there. Pretty much throughout the entire game up to that point, you flew through the billboards. You crashed through them. I was
surprised you did not break through that.
And that one, you can't. And there's little stuff like that, little inconsistencies here and there. But I'll be honest with you, Matt, those are the only criticisms I have of this game. The music is also incredible. Like, was it last week or the week before I reviewed that one Nintendo game that supposedly had that legendary composer doing it, and the music was awful. The music in this is amazing. Also, as you're seeing right here, you just never know what's going to happen in this. It's just like a crazy roller coaster ride through somebody's mind that's probably taken entirely too many drugs. Like, you just never know what's going to happen, what's coming next, what's around the next turn. There are boss fights in this that are awesome. There's one boss fight that's basically like Rock Band. And when you play it, you realize that this game probably is more like Rock Band than it is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And I'm guilty of it. Like, for all the blurbs we've been writing for this game for the last year and a half, we always say, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater with trains, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on a railroad track. But that's ultimately is not what it really is. There's elements of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in here, and it looks like Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam. But once you start playing it, it really doesn't feel like Tony Hawk's all that much, unless you're just watching somebody else play it. So I love this game. It's one of the best games that I have played in 2026. And I know you're sitting there right now saying, oh, you're crazy, Shane. I guarantee you, if you give this game a chance and just play it for like 40 minutes, I think you're going to agree with me. It is on Game Pass, so you can try it for cheap or nothing. If you're already a Game Pass subscriber, download it. It's not very big. Take you 5 minutes to download the game and give it a go. And I guarantee you get into this game about an hour in, you're going to be like, oh, damn, I see what Shane was talking about now. It's just complete. It's relentless. It's completely unpredictable. I mean, just the premise of it is unpredictable all on its own. But the things that it does within that premise are also insane and really creative and really freaking cool. So it's called Denshattack. It's, get the price for you here. I have it in my notes. It is only $20. And you can get it right now on Steam. It's like 20% off or something like that. So you can get it for like $17 or $15. It is the best deal in gaming of the entire year. Again, I'm 12 hours into it. I have not finished it. And so it's a big game. I also have not got tired of it. I can't remember the last racing game I played for that long that I didn't get sick of. So there's no other game like this on the market. I know, again, I compared it to a bunch of other games trying to kind of get your head around the concepts of the game, but it really plays unlike anything else. You can see here, you can customize your train. There's really not much to do once you're back from the races in the hub, so you can spray paint it and give it colors and stickers and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually you do unlock new trains as well. And those trains do handle differently. Like, some of them will have a higher top speed, some will have a higher acceleration, some will jump higher, things like that. But I don't know. I felt like I could make it through pretty much every mission in the game using the train that I started the game with. Like, I messed around with some of the other train cars just to see, but I was able to make it through everything I've played through so far with the train that I started the whole game with. But they're there if you want to check them out and you want to mix it up. If you're somebody who likes cosmetics and adding your own personal flair to things, you can do that in this game as well. But production values through the roof. Like, I can't believe they're selling it for $20. It's awesome. It's Denshattack, PC, PS5, Xbox Series, Switch 2, and Game Pass. You think you're going to play it, Matt? I'm surprised you didn't play it. Were you not interested in it?
Somewhat. It was a very busy week.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to a lot of. The only thing I really played was I started a new game of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, just in the spirit of the movies of the week.
Yeah.
And that's still good.
But they keep layering on stuff in this game. Like you see right there, at this point, and this is probably, I don't know, 2 hours into the game or whatever, they finally add the grinding and the sliding, where you have to like balance with the left analog stick while you're sliding and grinding, and that adds a whole new element that you have to suddenly keep in mind while you're playing. It's a very addictive game, a very fun game, and a very cheap game. Whether you pay for it outright for $20 or $17, or you just get Game Pass for the month and give it a go on there, and then also play Halo Campaign Evolved and all the other stuff that's been going on Game Pass over the last couple months. And there's been a lot of really good stuff on there. So I highly recommend this. It is, as of right now, my leader for Indie Game of the Year for 2026, and also under consideration for Game of the Year overall for me for this year. So I don't know what else I can say to make it sound attractive. I love this game. I will admit it is a little bit in my wheelhouse. I'm into graffiti and hip hop and that whole culture and everything, and it definitely gives you that vibe. But at the end of the day, it's just a complete blast to play, and that's what matters to me most. And so I've had a great time with Denshattack, and I think most of you will as well. Let's check in with chat very quickly and see if you have questions, because this game is kind of crazy. And so also look at all the tricks here. These are all the tricks that are in the game, and you can see the commands you have to do to make the tricks. They're crazy complicated, and there are so many. Like, it's pretty nuts.
It's a lot of stuff to get out of a rectangular box.
It really is. It really is.
Although I guess what is a train if not a tall skateboard?
It really kind of is. But, I mean, they get really creative with it. Like I said, there are boss fights, and the boss fights in this are really where things like start to get crazy, and you start to really see the creativity. And again, I will say this too. If you do pick this up, when you get to your first mission, this almost made me quit, honestly. When you get to the first mission that's just open and you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want, and there's no time limit or anything like that, stick with it. Because it does suck. Like, I honestly almost quit playing the game at that point because I got really frustrated. I had one thing that I needed to get, and the game doesn't give you, like, a camera to just look throughout the whole world to see where the thing is that you want to get. And so you have to go through trial and error to try to find those things that you need to collect. I almost quit there. Do not quit. It just keeps getting better and better after that, and there aren't hardly any missions like that. Those are the outliers. Most of them are like what you're seeing here, where you're just trying to get from one end of the track to the other as creatively and stylishly and fun as possible. So let's check in with chat quickly to make sure you guys don't have any questions about this absolutely awesome game. We have a super chat over on YouTube from Christian Velagog633. Did I say that right? Is that a $50 super chat?
Looks like it.
Oh my
I can't
God.
tell if it's...
Christian, thank you. I think that's 50 USD.
It doesn't note another country's dollar, so...
Wow. Thank you, Christian. Hey, Shane and Matt, just wanted to stop by and say hello. I'm at work, but I wanted to say hello. Hope you guys enjoyed the Doomsday trailer. Got to get back to the grind. Thank you, Christian. That is freaking awesome, man. Mice Q says that this game also has a Hi-Fi Rush vibe. It does. Yeah. That's another game that is very similar to. Let me get down to the bottom of the chat here over on Twitch. Jam Rain 99 just picked it up. We'll try it out today. You will not regret it, man. I promise you. Cinetyke, this looks pretty cool and fun. Vincent says, I didn't click with the demo, but I heard the full game is better. I didn't even know that there was a demo. I wish I had known that. I would have played it because it's flipping awesome. Zen Shuriken, I don't think you were crazy. It looks awesome. I'm glad that you guys are all getting that vibe from the B-roll and everything. E Demon says it's like Ollie World, but with trains. That's actually another good one because it is kind of an endless runner. At the end of the day, that's kind of what it is. Commander Fett says this game feels so good to play. It really does, Commander Fett. I probably should have said that more. Like, it just, like, the power slides feel amazing. Like, the force feedback, and I played it on Xbox. And, like, even the force feedback and the stuff in that controller feels really amazing and adds something to the game for sure. The design feels like a mix of Tony Hawk and Hi-Fi Rush. So he brought up Hi-Fi Rush as well. Surly Mexican, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Ashes in the Hourglass says it kind of looks like Thumper a little bit. But that's like a music and rhythm game, if I remember correctly, whereas this, you don't have to play to the beat at all. It may appear that you can, though. Emperor Dread, no hyperbole, one of my top 20 games of all time. Wow. Needs extensive modding, though. Oh, he's talking about Fallout. Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about Denshattack. ETH Demon also calls it 3D Ollie World. Slagathor says the devs are Spanish. Yep, they're from Spain, which is awesome. Like, they've totally figured out, like, the whole culture thing from Europe. Like, not just, like, American hip-hop culture, but also kind of the Japanese hip-hop culture and the anime culture and everything. They've done a really, really good job. Do you at least get to suplex a train from Time City? No, I don't think we ever got to do that.
No.
Although your train does get suplexed by others, I think, at certain points.
It might be close enough.
Yeah.
For the Final Fantasy fans.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Speaking of the indie stuff and that Fallout Mexico that we mentioned, one of the things that did very much pop up on my radar this week was Mariachi Legends.
Oh, okay.
Which the Metroidvania based on Mexican legends and history.
Yeah.
Looks very cool.
It does look cool. Joaquin Dragoon. Is this a good holder for Jet Set Radio Remake? I'll be honest with you, Joaquin. I think this is better than Jet Set Radio. Like, gameplay-wise, like, by a lot. I probably like the aesthetics and the graffiti stuff a little bit more in Jet Set Radio. Story's probably a little bit better, but as far as playing the game, this is way better, for sure. Joaquin Dragoon, how's the music? I've mentioned it already. It's incredible. It is really like stuff that you would listen to driving around in your car. It gets you going. It's perfect for the game's aesthetics, the game's action. It's awesome. Like I said, the only complaint I have about the entire game is that there's a couple, like, confusing things where they're not consistent. Where, like, for example, you can blast through most of the billboards in the game, but every once in a while there's one that you hit and you bounce off of it. Other than that, I really struggle to find many criticisms of this game. So, Majora Tom Leet says, just added Denshattack to my wish list on PS5. I'll give it a go soon. Awesome, man. I don't think any of you will regret it if you play it. So, give it a go. It's Denshattack. It's only $20. You can get it on discount right now on Steam for a few bucks less than that. But it's also available on all the modern consoles. I don't think any of you will regret it if you spend $20 on it. All right. It's time to move on. Up next, we're going to talk about our old pal, Cliff Bleszinski. Matt, did you see this story yesterday?
I did.
Were you surprised
No.
at the story? So yesterday,
I have been out with Cliff before.
So have I. So basically yesterday, Cliff Bleszinski, if you don't know who he is the creator of Gears of War and a bunch of other stuff. He's actually been developing games.
Unreal.
He was like a prodigy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was like, not just like making games, like he was one of the best gamers in the world for like years and years. Like, he went to those Nintendo competitions and like won. Like, back when he was a tween or whatever. Like, he loves games. There's no denying that Cliff Bleszinski is one of us. And he made the Gears of War games, and then he went on to start his own studio called Boss Key, where he made a game called Lawbreakers.
Well, he started doing, like, Quake levels and stuff, right?
Yeah, modding. Yeah.
But they hired him.
They hired him over that at Epic, so anyway, then he went on to do Boss Key, where he did Lawbreakers, which was like one of the first hero shooters ever, honestly. In hindsight, it was kind of innovative. And then they put out a game called Radical Heights.
Any Sega fan can tell you being ahead of the times doesn't help you.
Yep. And basically what Cliff said this week is that during his entire time working on the first 3 Gears of War games, the first Gears of War trilogy, and then his time working at Boss Key, he was a functioning alcoholic. And he believes that ultimately his alcoholism is what led him to where he is now, which is unemployed in the games industry, and launched a studio that released 2 games that both flopped horribly, basically. Now, Matt, you said you know Cliff, and we both do, and you've gone out with him, and so have I. We both have. But I didn't get this vibe from him.
I don't think he was in that space in the years that I was seeing him regularly. Like, I've only seen him a couple of times since he started Boss Key.
Yeah. Well, he says through the whole Gears of War trilogy, he was coming into work hungover every day. And he said he could not wait. It wasn't that he couldn't wait to get to work. He couldn't wait to get off work to start drinking. And so he'd go to work every day and do his job, and he was, sober at work. But all day he's sitting there. He can't wait to go to the bar.
I mean, he was a partier. We all knew that.
He was, but it's like if you
unless you worked with him, you wouldn't know he was doing that every night.
Yeah,
so.
But you remember, Matt, like back in the old days of the industry, like you knew everybody because there weren't that many outlets, so you knew every journalist, and you knew which journalist would drink a little too much at events and get out of control. In fact, our old friend Epi, was notorious for that.
But being an alcoholic doesn't mean you get out of control. It just means it rules your life.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm getting to that all eventually. I'm explaining why there was no red flags for me with him. because there were red flags with dozens of other people in the industry.
Oh, sure.
PR people, developers, fellow journalists. After a while, you just started to figure out, like, that guy likes to get loaded. And when he goes to events, he gets too drunk and he gets sloppy at the end of the event and he embarrasses himself. Like, you knew everybody. I knew Cliff. I've gone out with Cliff. Like, we leave an event and me and him and 2 people in a cab go to some bar or whatever. Like, I never got that vibe from Cliff, man. That he was, like, out of control, alcoholic, who thought about drinking all the time.
Well, that's the thing, is he wasn't. That's what the functioning part means.
Well, he said he was a functioning alcoholic until he wasn't. And he said
That's
that
how it happens.
he got away with it at Epic for the trilogy of Gears of War. And then he kind of says that, like, I kind of left Epic stupidly. And he thinks that the alcohol was clouding his judgment. Like, he thought that he was the big man on campus and that he could leave and he could do whatever he wanted and that people would follow him. Not follow the game, follow him. He thought that it was about him and not about the game.
Yeah, was very obviously untrue, but was not really something you could probably convince him of
at the time. He was dude huge, Cliffy B, whatever. He had built up this huge persona that really, honestly, was nothing like who he was.
Right.
Like,
it wasn't who he was, and also, like, it was huge in a particular circle.
Right.
And the idea that it would translate to the millions, the teeny
of Gears
millions,
fans,
is crazy.
It is crazy, and that's
but
why
it
he
does
says
explain. You know, him talking about this does explain. I mean, I had always kind of wondered why he did that, because, like, and he's not the only person in this industry to learn that being a good game developer and being a good studio head are 2 very different jobs.
Oh yeah.
And not everyone who can do one can do the other.
Yep. So,
and I think we've seen that over and over. It's not just him. We've seen that over and over with people in the industry.
So he left Epic and started his own studio, Boss Key Games, in Raleigh, same place he had been living, working at Epic. And he started working on a game called Lawbreakers, which was a hero shooter before hero shooters were really a thing. And I actually interviewed at Boss Key. Did you know this? I interviewed for a job at Boss Key. Cliff contacted me and was like, hey, we're looking for a community manager. Would you be interested? I saw you just left Game Trailers. And I was like, well, I'm kind of working on this thing on my own. Like, I'm kind of thinking about launching my own business. I'm like, but maybe you could make me an offer that I can't refuse. So I'll listen. And he did not make me an offer that I cannot refuse. Talking with him about Boss Key, I could see what he's talking about now. It was all about him. And he really thought that, like, he was the Pied Piper and that millions of people were going to follow him to do whatever he wanted to do.
So the offer was really come work with me.
Pretty much, yeah. And the big thing about the whole interview was Raleigh. He's like, look, I know you live in L.A. He's like, I've been to L.A. I love L.A. He's like, Raleigh isn't L.A. He's like, and I get that.
Certainly isn't.
He's like, and I get that. He's like, but the salary I can offer you in Raleigh, you will live like a king. He's like, you will have a mansion if you want it. He's like, you'll have a house as big as you want. You'll have the car that you dreamed of. And I'm like, but yeah, I'll be living in Raleigh.
Until.
Yeah. And so eventually, like, he and I were going back and forth, and I think he caught the vibe that it wasn't going to happen. But what I told him was, like, look, man, I know a lot of people, and I can help you find your community manager. And I'm totally willing to do that to help you. And so as it turns out, the guy I used to work with at Game Trailers, Rohan, ended up becoming their community manager. And he left L.A. and moved out to Raleigh to become the community manager of Boss Key, which I pushed Cliffy in that direction. I'm like, this is the guy you should hire. And he did. So I sit back, I start SIFTD or whatever, and I start to watch all the Boss Key stuff happen. So Lawbreakers comes out or is about to come out. It's not really tracking all that well. It's this anti-gravity hero shooter thing where, like, not the whole thing is an anti-gravity. There's just, like, sections in the middle of the map where there's no gravity.
It is. I think it's one of the highest skill floor like multiplayer shooters I've ever played.
It had this weird thing where you could shoot behind you.
It took days to be any good at this game.
And I never became good at it. And nobody could. And that's why people quit playing, because what happened was there was a very small group of people who became very good at the game and just annihilated everybody.
Like, Cliffy made, to some degree, like you understood that, like, Cliffy made this for people who have been playing, like, Unreal tournaments since day one.
Yep.
And, like,
and they want to graduate.
For that subset of them, like, this is the high skill, like, evolution of the multiplayer shooter that they've been waiting for. But that group of people is hundreds of thousands of people. And you need this to be for millions of people.
The crazy thing about one of the stories that he told is, like, when he went to start Boss Key, he actually like tried to get Rod Ferguson to found Boss Key with him.
Wow.
And Rod told him like, I'll do it, but we're going to be co-founders and we'll both start this studio together. And Cliff said, no. He said, this is my thing. And you're just going to be an employee. This is my studio.
Wow.
And Rod told him to kick rocks for very good reason.
Yeah. No, like, Rod Ferguson does not have to be your employee.
No,
dude.
Rod Ferguson is no one's bitch in this industry. In fact, he's the bitch maker in this industry. And Cliffy said, like, all this information, by the way, comes from an interview with Brian Crescente. I want to make sure we give the credit where the credit's due. He did an interview with Cliff about this. And Rod was basically like, go kick rocks, dude. Good luck. And didn't form Boss Key with him. And then Cliff starts his own thing and does it on his own. And the result was that
a clearer-minded person would probably have taken that as a sign,
right?
As a warning.
And that was another case where he said he felt the alcohol and the alcoholism was affecting his decision making. He also said that even after that happened with Rod, he did not get the hint. And when he started Boss Key, he made sure that he put their studio next to his favorite bar.
Wow.
So he could leave work and go right to the bar and sit and drink after work.
That's definitely, clearly this had progressed to a great degree by the time this happened, because that is, Cliff is very sharp.
Yep.
I think
he's a very smart guy.
I think he's right about, hitting a point where it was clouding him, because I always wondered why he left Epic in the first. It felt like what was happening that you couldn't do there.
I thought he was arguing with people inside or something.
Yeah, like we speculate about a lot of stuff like that, but if the answer is actually like he had begun to believe his own hype to the point that he thought he could do that,
he was bigger than Epic.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
well, it doesn't make sense that he thought that, but it explains
everything,
the actual decisions there.
And so Lawbreakers completely flopped, and then as their Hail Mary, they announce and release this game, Radical Heights, in like a month period. It was announced, and like a week later, it was up in beta, and it was just a piece of trash. I mean, you can see in this
utterly
just garbage.
No one should be outside of the company should have been playing that at that point.
Nope. They were trying to ape Fortnite, which is, he helped work on the initial form of Fortnite. Like, so I can understand why he was probably like, man, I created this thing, is blowing up. So,
but to be fair, he didn't create that part of it.
No,
he created
the tower defense version of Fortnite. Yeah, but once he saw Fortnite starting to morph into the battle royale,
probably realized
shooter,
that like if he hadn't left, he'd be there.
Oh yeah, he'd be the Fortnite guy. I mean,
there's an alternate universe where Cliff Bleszinski is the face of Fortnite.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the face of Epic.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
And maybe we wouldn't have to listen to Tim Sweeney's
bullshit. Seriously.
I'll take 4 million years of dude huge shit over like Tim Sweeney.
Over an hour of Tim Sweeney. I agree 100%. With you 100%. But they put this out, nobody cared, and then Boss Key folded. And since then, Cliff used his money to start like a Broadway show, and he wrote a book.
Town specifically. Like he made some very good choices in that arena.
He's done great.
He won a Tony.
Yeah, I know.
Like Cliff's done fine for himself.
It's amazing, but he feels hollow without being in the games industry. That's the thing. So he's talking now.
Okay, that is the thing that surprised me the most. If I'm honest, like reading that he feels like that, because for years he's just been like, I don't work on Gears of War, I don't do that anymore. Like, stop asking me shit about that. And like, I always just assumed that like that part of his life was done, and he didn't want to deal with he didn't want to look behind him. He didn't want to. And now it feels like, he misses, like he didn't want to be reminded of it more than anything else.
He misses the camaraderie of working with people. I'll be honest with you, that's what I miss too, working on SIFTD more than anything. I mean, I miss the vacation time and the benefits and the healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare is good too, yeah.
But what I really miss is having to work by myself all the time and not having people to talk about, like with the new Game of Thrones episode or whatever, just like talking about life around the water cooler and like bouncing ideas off of people and making things better by working together. Like, I miss all that stuff working on SIFTD, like big time, like way more than I thought I would. Like when I was starting SIFTD, I was like, man, I want to get out of corporate America. I'm sick of this crap. Like, I watched them kill game trailers for no freaking reason, and I was just like, I'm getting out of here. I still miss the camaraderie of working with other people and making friends at work and all that kind of stuff. One thing I will say is that, like, they're not really your friends, most of them. I think you discover that when you leave a job, but
we certainly picked up, I picked up a dozen or so people that I kept for the rest of my life.
G4 was different, honestly. Yeah. G4, really, everybody there has is my friend. They are still my friends. But a lot of the people that I worked with at Game Trailers and MTV, I never hear from them anymore. You know, I was just like the boss that they had to make sure they didn't piss off so they don't get fired, or the guy who could get them a job if they get laid off at their other gig. Like, you know, LA's very much like that, honestly. Like, there's just a lot of people here, once they figure out they can't get anything out of you, they have no use for you anymore. And to be fair, like, you kind of have to be that way to succeed in LA, because if you dwell too long on the people who can't do something for you, probably nothing's going to happen in your career. So
yeah, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I get that part of it, but the truth is like most of the people that I worked with at MTV who, you know, they came to my birthday parties and came to my Super Bowl parties and all that, I haven't heard from them in years. So I think that's probably true for a lot of people at every job that they work. But I think Cliff, that was what he was missing, is that camaraderie. So he's talking about coming back now. But here's the thing, like in this interview with Brian Crescente, he started talking about like game concepts that he's been working on, or things that he thinks about like making games now. And like one of the things that he said that like really set me off was he was consulting on a game or something, and he said his big revelation was telling them that like that's not like YouTube or Twitch exciting. So his whole perspective on making games now appears to be like, you got to make something that people are going to watch and freak out over on Twitch and YouTube. And to me, that is the wrong first foot to set out on if you want to get back into game development. So
depending on kind of what he's saying, like, I mean, if you mean something that somebody can react to or like make a streaming career out of, that's not the but like, you know, obviously like some of the breakout stuff like Balatro sort of begins on streams, but like that's a different thing than sort of what people usually mean by appealing to influencers. So it kind of depends what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I also think that if he'd gone to Boss Key and maybe instead of having 2 live service games in development at once, if he'd had Lawbreakers and maybe a Gears style, like more campaign driven game as sort of the backup, maybe being able to pivot to that would have been more helpful than releasing Radical Heights years ahead of its time.
Yeah, he even said that Radical Heights, the entire premise of that game was try to have people create clips. Like, that was the whole premise of Radical Heights, was have crazy stuff happen that people will make clips of that will go on YouTube.
See, that's the thing, is like, I understand what he's saying there, but you can't create that. That rises spontaneously. Like, you can't make a game that's built to foster that and expect it to work, because if it did, the biggest game of last year would have been Baby Steps.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it sold hardly at all.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. I mean, just because you're viral doesn't mean you're going to make money. Like, for a lot of people, they just watch the people play it. They don't want to play it themselves.
The most widespread clip of like Fortnite stuff I've seen lately is a clip of Edward in Black Flag with a glitch that makes him swim on land. That's it. Like, you can't plan for it. It's all has to be organic. And the people who make this stuff viral can smell it when it's not. Yeah. Like, you can't manipulate.
You can smell when they're trying to create a viral thing.
There's a whole, it's like, it's wacky. And I always think, and this is showing our age, but like, I always think about all the ripoffs of E.T. that came out after the wake of that movie, and how forced and false all of it felt in comparison to how genuine E.T. felt. And I don't even like E.T. very much, but it's like, you either capture that or you don't. Yeah. And people have a very keen sense of when you are trying to manufacture something.
Here's something very funny that you brought up, E.T., Matt. Another one of his quotes that I have here is about E.T.
Weird.
You just nailed it, dude. So after he said it's not like YouTube or Twitch exciting, he says, I was like, can somebody just please code a bike that you find in the game that has a stupid little alien in a little cart? And when you find it, it cues music, and the bike actually flies as a wink to E.T. Then you can fly around the map on the bike. Like, that was one of his galaxy brain concepts for one of his games.
So,
basically, rip off E.T.
I've accidentally already responded to what he just said there.
Yep.
You can't force it.
Yep, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. Yep. So, here's the other thing. The reason that he is now talking about this is because he had a seizure earlier this year. And he said, I don't know if he said the doctor told him that it was because of drinking, or if he just believes it's because of drinking. Regardless, that's why he has stopped drinking, and he's trying to turn his life around and get back into gaming again, is because he had a seizure earlier this year and it put him on red alert. So I mean, he could have epilepsy or something. Who knows if it's really from the drinking? But bottom line is, if it got him to quit, who cares?
Yeah. Well, also certainly like the drinking could trigger some of that. Certainly as you get older.
Right.
So
yeah. So
I'm not going to argue with him. About
no,
it.
not at all. Me either. But basically, he had a medical emergency, which convinced him to. And sadly, for most people, that's usually what it takes to change your life.
It's either that or a complete breakdown of some important relationship or thing in your life.
Yep.
And honestly, this is one of the less painful ways it can happen.
It's true.
At least he seems like he's okay. For the most part.
What do you think's going to happen with him? You think he'll come back? Do you think people will want him back?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone who made the games that made these luminaries who they are back in the day, I don't know if any of that matters anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
I mean, I've been dealing with it. Like, we're yesterday's news. We were journalists back in the early aughts, and people knew who we were then. Like, you ask a random gamer, who's Shane Satterfield now? They're like, I don't know. Who the hell's that? I have no freaking clue who it is. It happens to everybody. Like, it's hard to stay relevant decade after decade with the same audience as the audience gets younger and they resonate with younger people.
The issue is really that, like, you know, the name doesn't matter. The name doesn't. No, the number of names that sell games in the industry and ever have
it's like
is
2,
3 or 4.
Kojima, Miyamoto used to, not anymore. Maybe 1 now, honestly.
I mean, Kojima, I'm talking about, like, I guess Sid Meier.
Yeah, where a name sells a game.
To some degree.
Yeah.
American McGee, maybe a couple of times. Like, probably not anymore.
They should have called it Cliff Bleszinski's Lawbreakers.
John Romero. Like, at least people know who he is still.
Yeah.
But, like, Carmack, maybe, because the id Tech was still a relevant thing for a while. Like, it's just not really a thing. And, like, you know, you're not buying games on the backs of people's names. Even Warren Spector at some point, or Will Wright.
Yeah. None of those people matter anymore. And there are no luminaries anymore. Have you noticed that? Like, there's no people that just, like, rise. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a Rockstar game developer.
Well, there are, but they're all in the indie space, and they're not making. So, you know, it's like the Undertale guy,
Joseph Fares, I guess.
Fares, I guess. Jonathan Blow. There's a few of them, but a lot of them are just, like, famous for making weird, quirky things, and some of them are also famous for being assholes.
Yeah.
So it's not really the same thing as, like, a Will Wright situation.
Yeah.
Like, these people are not being invited to symposiums to tell people about how to make things. They are basically just famous because they make weird shit.
Well, the other thing is that, like, people just, like, that's why I like Denshattack so much. It's really new and something completely unique, like I've never played before, but that just never happens anymore. So you don't create these luminaries who are like, well, that guy created Mario, and this guy created a genre, The Sims.
But that's kind of like what I always talk about. Is like, was Denshattack ever be greenlit by Ubisoft or EA?
Oh, no, of course not.
But that's how you get new talent. It's how you get new IP. It's how you get your next $1 billion.
Yeah.
Without that farm team, you don't have a big league.
Yeah, but my point is, though, is like, there's nobody on the Denshattack team that's like stood up and said, I'm the guy who came up with this.
But they don't need to, because they know that's not how that works anymore.
Well, that's my point, is that, like, there's no luminaries anymore. But there's no people for, like, young people to look up to.
But why would there be? Because that's not how it works anymore.
Well, there would be if people could still create new genres,
no, they
but
wouldn't,
they're not.
Because that doesn't work. It's not how it works anywhere anymore. All the luminaries from all these, like, various, like, industries and creative things, they're all people that were already doing that before, like, kind of the advent of the social media era. Like, Nolan is unusual in that he is a director who commands the public's, like, respect and attention. That doesn't really happen anymore. People don't even go to see movies reliably to see movie stars anymore. Like, there are very few people you could. I mean, Tom Cruise is about all that's left at this point.
Pretty much.
Because I mean, are we at the point yet where we're going to admit that The Rock can't open a fucking movie?
Well, like, when he wears a wig. Those billboards look hilarious.
But he hasn't. Like, he has had flop after flop after flop in terms of when he's the main character. I mean, obviously he did well in, like, the Journey to the Center of the Earth sums, but that's an ensemble piece. People don't care about that anymore.
They don't.
Like, it's just not a thing. Like, like one of the reasons. Like, there's no opportunity.
Everything's been spread out now, because now instead of the kids all liking Michael Jordan like they did when we were kids, or all liking Michael Jackson when we were kids. Now they're just spread out because they have this dude who plays their favorite video game on YouTube, and they love that guy, and they buy his merch.
Because there's no monoculture anymore.
Right. And then there's this song that they like, made by this artist who may never make another hit song ever again.
There will never be another Thriller.
Yeah.
Because we basically consumed what we were handed by the record companies.
Well, it's also so much easier to make games and music now than they used to be. It's just like it's so much easier to make content about video games now. It used to be there was a door there that we stood behind because we had the money to buy the gear and to have the studios. And now you can just sit in your bedroom with a $50 webcam and you're just as effective as us sitting here with a pile of gear right now.
But even that goes back culturally to even stuff like Napster. Or like as soon as nobody was limited to just what they were able to see on the broadcast networks or MTV or the radio, like music was never centralized again.
Yeah.
Like you could find whatever weird shit you were into anywhere, somewhere on the internet, no matter what you needed to do, and you are never going to have a Michael Jackson again. Like that's one of the reasons Taylor Swift is so remarkable, is that she has built an audience that size.
He just brought up Swan Senpai just brought up Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's the other one. Yeah.
But like there used to be like 5 or 6 of those people running around at any given time in the music industry, and now the fact that Taylor Swift is even that big is like very notable, to the point that you care which football player she's dating.
Well, we just talked about this 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago on GameFace, where we talked about the hero developer, how that's not a thing anymore, and how Capcom believes it's successful because it got rid of the luminaries in its company.
And like you can mention Kojima, but how did Death Stranding 2 sell?
Yeah.
Like it's not a guarantee of any kind.
It did not sell very well at all.
People do not. Yeah. I mean, they are aware of it. They pay attention to him. They are interested, but it doesn't mean it's going to translate into a sale if it isn't what people want.
Yep.
Like nobody does that. Nobody just hands their money over because of a personality anymore.
Not Cirque brings up what I was saying. Celebrity culture has shifted to social media influencers.
Yeah.
And it is just influencers. It's that those influencers take a little bit of their time away, and that takes it away from the other people that they were following before. Everyone is just spread thin. Like, there used to be fans. Like, my aunts on my mom's side were huge Osmond fans. So much so that the one painted her room blue because that was Donny Osmond's favorite color, and the other one painted her room green because that was the other Osmond's favorite color or whatever. Like, people used to just get obsessed with, like, and maybe Taylor Swift is a little bit like that.
Taylor Swift is somewhat like that.
Yeah.
But it used to be sort of how, like, that kind of, like, engagement with that world worked, and it's just like the days of Tiger Beat are long gone.
Yeah, they are. Does that magazine even exist, though? A
know.
website, maybe? Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, everything that you recognize from something still exists in some form.
You're right.
Some executive
somebody bought it
because they've heard of it.
Yeah,
that's how you get anything done these days.
Yeah.
But I don't think Cliff's celebrity status really matters in terms of getting back in the industry. I think it's going to be his ideas, and so far, good luck.
I also think that, like, his reputation may actually be a hindrance to him getting back in.
Like, he can be a hard person to take seriously in that ironically, because that was the famous G4 montage from G4 that Kevin Pereira put together of him saying seriously like 14 times over the course of hosting that, which he didn't think was very funny, I should note, at the time, even though it was.
Delfino, we're talking about the sales of Death Stranding 2, not the first Death Stranding. Obviously, the first one sold enough to make a sequel, but I don't think there's going to be a Death Stranding 3.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Tiger Beat does not exist anymore, but it did only shut down in 2021.
Oh, wow. That definitely lasted longer than I thought.
1965 to 2021.
Wow. That's crazy. Day of Zero. So to point out that the number of games journalists I know is a very short list. Yeah, because most of us have, like, honestly lost their jobs and had to go do something else.
Most of us had to eat.
I mean, I know some ex-journalists who are working at Walmart. I know ex-journalists who are working as English teachers.
I know a guy who has been in production for longer than I have, and he just became a building safety inspector. Yeah, because he had to feed his family.
And a lot of times you have to figure out, like, hey, what can I do to go to school for a year or two and then have a decent salary? Yeah, and that's what they do. Even if they don't want to do it, they're like,
everyone I know who works in production is trying to figure out what to do next,
how to pivot,
because they know whatever their gig is right now might be their last.
Yeah,
and most of them are probably correct.
It sucks, man. It really does, but that's life. You just got to roll with the punches. So Anyway, I root for Cliffy. I like Cliffy. Like,
Yeah,
Cliffy's
I
a good
Cliff very
guy.
much.
Like,
Yeah.
even through the whole Dude Huge era, like, he was always the same to me. Like, he never acted differently around me. Like,
no, he was not like that in private.
No.
Like, he wasn't.
He was just a cool guy. Yeah.
He was not his hair in private. As some people
that's
would say.
another guy in this industry where his outward persona is not who he really is at all.
And I remember talking to him after the Boss Key stuff all collapsed, and he felt awful about that.
About the people who lost their jobs.
All he talked about was how much he let down the people that he had moved to Raleigh. Like, he knew he fucked up, and he took responsibility for it as much as he can. There's nothing he could do about it. Like, it happened, you know.
Yeah.
But he was so unhappy that I felt the need to change, because we were at Pactor's party. I felt the need to change the subject as much as I could, because it was not the place to be sad about that. And like, I understood, but
well, like Rohan, who I basically got the job for, like, I was like, damn, did I just send Rohan out to Raleigh and he's going to be fired after like a year or whatever? As it turns out, like, our friends who worked at Epic ended up getting Rohan in at Epic. Yeah. So it all worked out okay, but yeah.
They didn't pick up Cliffy.
No, they didn't. So anyway, I wish Cliffy well. I think, honestly, I would like to see him back in the industry.
I wouldn't mind seeing him back and doing his thing again, and a little more self-aware, a little more grateful for kind of what had been lost and what he got back, sort of thing. Yeah. And I want him to have a good life.
Me too.
I like him personally.
He's a good dude.
He's a good person.
Yeah.
And so is his wife.
Yeah. She's great too.
I would like good things for them. So
I agree.
hopefully it does work out in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, he can always just fully pivot to Broadway if he needs to.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
let's be honest, he's been successful at pretty much everything he's done.
He has made a lot of great decisions in his life about what to back, what to do, but I understand, because financially producing stuff is not the same as collaborating with people creatively. I know that firsthand, and I understand what he misses.
You don't get the same thing out of it.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to move on.
If he needs to invest in some feature films, I can help him out with that.
He's got the money to do it. That's for sure. All right, next up, our second review for GameFace episode 489. I mentioned this at the end of the show last week. I was like, the Mound? Like, somebody sent me code for this game called the Mound, and I remember you looked at me. Yeah. And you looked at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure, but I know they sent it to me, so maybe I'll check it out. And I did, and it's kind of awesome. Again, this is another game I expected nothing from, and I tell you right now, you're going to watch this B-roll, and you're going to say this game sucks, because it looks like it sucks. And if you just watch footage of it, and maybe just even watch somebody else play it, it looks like a crappy game. And in some ways it is. It's definitely janky and got some issues with it. But the one thing I will say...
Most Lovecraft stuff works better in a jank realm, really. You need a little bit of the jank to it to feel like that old weird fiction.
So this is a part...
Isn't that right, Sinking City?
So this game is a part of kind of that new subgenre called friend slop. Mm-hmm. They're like cooperative multiplayer games that are janky and aren't really all that polished, but they have really good communication tools in them, and the entertainment is mostly derived from playing with other people. And that's kind of what this game is. It is a 4-player cooperative... They call it like an action RPG. It's not. Like, you level up in this game, but you never increase your power at all. The only reason the leveling matters is it unlocks new levels for you to play, and that's it. But you don't, like, level up your abilities. You don't get new guns or anything like that. Like, there is no leveling up at all. And so, to me, this is really just like a 4-player survival horror game where you play together, set in the Cthulhu mythos, I guess is the way you want to put it. The gist of the plot, not that there really is one. You're watching the opening cinematic right now, which is like walking through the wood. Again, this game looks really janky and looks bad if you just watch the B-roll. But the premise of the game is you're fighting towards the Mound. You are Spanish conquistadors who have come to Chile, and you are there to plunder Chile, basically. And so your goal is to make it all the way to the Mound, fight through all these different levels, get to the Mound, collect the massive treasure, extract with it on your boat, and take off. And that's sort of the whole plot. It's set in like the 17th century or whatever. And it's structured like most games of its ilk. There's a home base that you go to, which is a big sort of pirate ship. But there's not much to do there. There's no place to like level up weapons or anything like that. You can buy these little buffs that you can put on a cart that gives you like little boosts. But other than that, like all you're doing back at the boat is waiting for the host to use the server list right here to pick the mission. Now, only the host can pick the mission. And once he does pick the mission, the game basically gives you an outload of items that you can use. So after the host picks the mission, there's a table behind the table where he picks the mission, and a bunch of crap just appears there that's specific to that mission, that the game thinks this is what you're going to need. And then it's kind of a race to grab the stuff. Like, you can grab everything if you want to, and leave everybody without anything, the other 3 players if you want to, but then they can kick you, which is something that happened to me all the time in this game, and was probably my biggest annoyance with playing this. But once you grab you pick your stuff, and you talk to each other. You're like, hey, like, if I get the helmet, I'll give you the breastplate, or if I get the sword, you get the knife, so you kind of bargain before you take off, as far as like who gets what gear. Then you get on a little rowboat, and you row yourself to the Chile island, and you start. And basically how it works is you just start at the beginning, and there's this little cart that follows you around. There's a driver of the cart, and the objective is to just go out and adventure and find treasure, weapons, anything that's worth any amount of money, and bring them back to the cart and put them in the cart. You can hunt animals and bring those back and put them on the cart. You can find lumber and bring that back to the cart. And basically the goal is to have enough value in the cart to reach the goal that they set for that mission. So they'll say, hey, your goal for this mission is 2,000 gold. So as you're out in the world picking up stuff that you find and putting it in the cart, the total goes up, and it'll tell you how close you are to getting to the total that you need to. Once you've reached that total, you can go to the cart and you can hit go back to the beginning. You go back to the beginning and you extract. So this is like a 4-player cooperative survival horror extraction game. The difference here is when you extract, you don't get any of the stuff you extract with. They take it, they give you the monetary value for it. They say either you hit your goal or you didn't, and then you level up, and then you just come right back here and you start it all over again. So every mission, every run is brand new. You start out with the same abilities you have in every other mission, and you basically fight and argue for your beginning loadout of weapons and armor, and then you go and you fight. And now, once you get out into the world, you can find armor if you want. And if you want to put it on, you can. That slows you down. You can't run as fast if you put the armor on. So there's kind of a cost-benefit analysis to all the stuff that you equip. The knife, you can like basically assassinate enemies from behind with the knife, but it's weaker than using the machete. So there's all this like stuff you have to figure out. And ultimately, you need to make sure your team is solid, because if you die in this, somebody needs to come and pick you up and physically carry you back to the cart. If they do that, you'll revive and get up and you can keep going. If you don't, this Cthulhu crap happens and you become basically a zombie. And then as the zombie, you go and attack your former teammates. And if they kill you, they can then pick you up and take you to the cart and put you in there, and then you'll resurrect. So dying in this, it kind of sucks, because it's either they get you to the cart immediately, or it's this like 5 or 6 minute time period where you turn into a zombie. You have to wait for your zombie to walk all the way back to where they are. You have to wait for them to kill you and then put you in the cart so you can get revived. So you don't want to die in this. So this whole game is about going out into the wilderness, finding stuff, either in cases or just sitting places, taking it back to the cart, trying to hit your gold quota in the cart, and then extracting once you do. And that's pretty much the whole loop. Now, there's this whole other angle, the Cthulhu part of it, the forest part of it. The forest is alive. So every step you take, every branch that you break, and you'll see it too when you're walking through the woods, like a branch will like bend as you're walking through the woods. And if it snaps, you'll immediately hear like some creature out in the woods make a noise and be like, "Argh," like I'm coming for you. And if you keep making noise, if you use your guns, like the other thing too is like you shouldn't use your guns very often in this. Should keep using your melee weapons, because if you use a gun, the forest wakes up and next thing you know, there's like 20 dudes coming at you. And this game, the other thing about friend slot games, Matt, is I think that they make the gameplay janky on purpose. Like the shooting in this is awkward and weird. The running and the sprinting is weird. The climbing is context sensitive. So you have to like hit the triangle button to actually climb up on something. I feel like they make the gameplay in this clumsy on purpose to make it scary. Because if more than like 2 enemies come at you, you're done. Like you can try to run away and maybe they lose interest, but they're like relentless. And if they hit you like 3 times, you die. So you die a lot in this, and a lot of it is like trying to mitigate the deaths and making sure that the deaths aren't that detrimental to you guys kind of accomplishing your objective. And that's the game. And really, the other part of it is that there is insanity effects in this game, like Eternal Darkness. And so, for example, one thing that happened to me was they will record what you say, bless you, they will record what you say, and then later on, replay it. Like, there was one moment where some guy said something to me about, like, hey, you want this machete or something like that? And, like, 25 minutes later, a fake version of him walked into our camp and said, hey, do you want this machete? He didn't have the machete or anything. And I was like, yo, that's a fake one. And part of this game...
Very Predator.
Yeah. Part of this game is figuring out who the fake one is. Like, sometimes you'll join a game and you'll walk up to the people who are playing and they're like, who is that? I don't think he's real. He's fake. And the one thing you can do to let them know that you're a real player is whistle. And so if you whistle, they'll know, and they'll be like, oh, okay, it's cool. But you can mess with them and not whistle, and it turns into this very weird situation where they're like, don't let him near the blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. And so the communication's really important in this, and they give you all the tools that you need. You can whistle. You can signal for the cart to come forward. As I said earlier, you can send the cart back to the beginning if you want to, if you're ready to extract. But a lot of it is like, hey, I'm over here by myself, I'm lost, and then one of your teammates will whistle and be like, hey, this is where you need to go. Like, again, it's all about the communication, the talking, and then it's like the insanity effects just make everything an X factor. You never know if someone's really your teammate. Like, sometimes, like, flies will come across the screen, people will sink down into the ground. You think the game, that's the other thing. The game is so janky that you never know whether it's like an insanity effect or if it's just the game being janky. Like, I don't know if it's on purpose. Like, there was this one time I came into this field, and there were a bunch of pine trees dancing around in the field, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I walk up closer to them, and one of them turned into an enemy and attacked me, and I was like, is this a bug, or is this on purpose? Like, you just don't know.
That seems like it's from what is it? It's that ghost hunting game that sort of defines this sort of subgenre of it. Begins with a P. Paranatural.
Oh, it is. It is very much Phasmagoria. Whatever. Yes, it is very much like that. They're kind of sister games, honestly. So if you like that game, you're definitely going to like the Mound. I guarantee that. I also like that there's a server list, so they're not like randomly like matching you up with people. Like, more games should be doing that in 2020. Phasmophobia, yeah. It's very much like that game. So if you already like Phasmophobia, you're definitely going to like this, for sure. They are very, very similar. But there's no automatic like connecting to games. So you look at the server list, you can choose which one you want to join. Now, again, the other thing I would say is that there's no private games in this, which is a huge mistake, because you'll join games where it's like 3 buddies, and they're like, dude, who are you? And they'll kick you. So you go through the whole process, and then you get into the game, you're like on the boat, you're ready to go, and they just boot you. And you're like, gah. And then the other thing, too, is if everybody dies, so like I said, you can resurrect each other. But once it comes down to where everybody's dead and there's no one to resurrect you, it's over. And you get nothing. Nothing. You don't level up. You don't get any of the stuff that you collected. It's like you didn't even play it and you just wasted your time.
Although you did say that leveling up doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It just opens up new missions to play in higher ranks or whatever. Because they just assume that you've played more, so you're probably better at it now. But your character that you play in the game actually has not gotten any better. They're the same every time you play. It's only you and your knowledge that improves to help you get better at the game. So they just assume that you've leveled up mentally, so they give you that level, but it really doesn't change how the game plays at all. So when I first started playing this, they sent me the code. I played it the next day, last Wednesday. I played 2 rounds of this, and I was like, this game is the biggest piece of trash I've ever played, and I put it down and didn't touch it for like 5 days. And I was like, all right, we need games for episode 489, so I'm going to have to play this. I'll just give it another go, and if anything, I'll just go on the show and say it sucks. And then that next match, I started to figure it out, and I could start to see. Because what happened was I played with a team that was communicating and talking. And the guy who we played with, he just, like, before we started, he goes, everybody come over here. Because it is, like, location-based talking or whatever. He said, everybody come over here. So we all went over to him, and he just told us everything about the game. He's like, the forest is alive, don't break any branches, don't shoot your guns unless you have... And he just laid it all out. And once he laid it all out, I was like, oh, I get it now. And once I played with that group of people, then it was on. then I understood it and I got it. Now, I'm not saying that this is a Game of the Year contender or anything like that. I'm just saying it's a game that's unlike pretty much anything I've ever played before, other than like Peak. I did not play Phasmophobia, so I know that this is exactly like it, but I did not personally play it. So to me, this was unlike anything I've ever played before, other than Peak. Because Peak was like that too. Like the climbing mechanics in that game were trash and like janky and weird. But the fun was those mechanics failing you and your reaction to it. And then the reaction of all the other people who are playing it with you. That's kind of this game in a nutshell. The other thing I would say too is that I found the community on this game to be awesome. Like I said, the one person basically sat everybody down and gave them the ins and outs of it very quickly. But everybody else is awesome too, man. And some people like role play in this and like get into it. And like, again, it's unlike any game I've played before. It's the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu. It's on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. I'm not sure if this is on Game Pass, actually.
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. But this is only $30. So if you decide to just buy this, it's only $30. I've already got more than $30 of entertainment out of this. And again, I know it looks janky and goofy and weird. And I probably wouldn't say if you're like a Cthulhu fan, if those things exist, that you would play it. You should play it because of that. You should play it if you're into this aesthetic. Like the idea of playing with others, the goofy moments that happen, kind of being put in impossible circumstances with inadequate tools, I guess is the best way I would put it. That's sort of the whole gist of this game. Like it's janky, it's weird, it's hard to play, and the game's freaking hard, but it's fun because of that. So that's the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu. For $30, if you've watched it, if you've listened to me talk about it, or if you like Phasmophobia, pick this up without hesitation. You're going to love it. And again, there's a lot of work left to be done on this. Like, they could fix a lot of the stuff if they want to. I'm not sure that they do. And there's so many moments in this where you're just running away and you keep looking behind you and there's like 80 monsters like running after you through the woods. Like, there's just those terrifying moments. And then you feel bad if you lead a big group of enemies back to the cart, but you need to because otherwise you're going to die. Like, it's just all these sort of mental gymnastics you go through while you're playing this. It's cool to see games trying more psychological angles to things, focusing on that instead of focusing on, yes, this mechanic works perfectly, and yes, this thing will never clip through the, or whatever. It's just a different focus in making video games, I think. And it's been kind of refreshing to see these kind of concepts come through. Like, now you're seeing an insanity effect. Like, my vision gets blurred. And it's like, you never know. Like, is it an insanity effect, or is the game glitching, or whatever? Like, and then you die, and you're like, no, it was real. It's funny. So anyway, I had a good time with this. Vincent says the Mound is not on Game Pass. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. You can see already the first-person combat, janky and weird. Like, you swing, you just kind of hope that it actually hits the enemy. But that's part of the fun. It feels like they've baked that into the experience. How do you feel about that? Kind of making a game bad so that it's fun?
Is not for me.
Yeah. Did you play that other game, Phasmophobia?
I did, but I never figured out what I was supposed to really do in it. Like,
and this game will turn people off unless you have somebody like I had. That guy who's like, let me give you the ropes on this. And once he explained it to me, I was like, oh, I get it now. The other thing, too, is that enemies will come back alive. Like, you think you've killed them, and they just lay there. Mm-hmm. And, like, eventually you figure it out, so you start watching them to make sure that they don't come back up. But the first few hours you play, like, you get killed by those guys a lot. Because you think they're dead, and you turn your back on them, and next thing you know, they come up from behind you and kill you. So that's the Mound. Omen of Cthulhu, PC, PS5, Xbox Series. It's only $30. If what you saw and heard sounds interesting to you, I fully recommend picking it up for that price. Any questions about the game, Matt?
Nope.
Let's check chat very quickly to make sure there's none here either. Not Cirque. I would love another arena shooter that's properly scoped. Okay. Doesn't look like there's anything here. Times any. Every move you make, the forest will be watching you. So there's very specific moments, and you'll know it. Like, you'll walk through the woods, and you'll see a tree branch starting to bend in your vision. You know, like, oh, I need to back up, or it's going to snap. Because as soon as that thing snaps, you hear a monster go,
yeah, I think he's just referencing the Police song.
Oh, what Police song?
Every breath you take.
I'll be watching you. That's fun. I didn't get that at all. Good job, Times Any. I didn't get that. That's a lot of adjectives. Slot factor earned. Colonialism. Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yep. Yeah, you are the bad guys in this game, by the way. Yeah. You're the conquistadors looking to come and like steal all this stuff and go back to Spain, basically. So yeah, Swan Senpai says, you say jank, I say charm. And I think that's what the developers are doing with this too. Like I think they know that it plays a little loosey-goosey. And I think they like that. Like the sprinting is weird. Like sometimes it seems like you can sprint for 5 steps. Sometimes it seems like you can sprint forever. But it always seems like you can't sprint very far when enemies are right behind you, running after you. Like I do think that they designed this game around the shortcomings. It may have even created the shortcomings on purpose, which is interesting. It's a strange way to design a game, but that's where we're at in 2026. When you have a game like Peak sell like 30 million units in a week, you're going to have copycats and people that are trying the same thing, and that's kind of what this is. Yeah, they're talking about other stuff there. Well, sadly, it does not look like my excitement for this game generated much excitement among our chat, sadly. So I don't know if I failed there. I get it, though. It's hard to watch that B-roll and get excited. Like, I understand that. Like, when I first started playing it, I wasn't excited either until I understood it and started playing it. So it's kind of my job to convey that here to you guys, and I guess I just didn't do a good job of it. So anyway, like I said, if this did pique your interest, if you're like, that seems kind of cool, like, I think you should pick it up for $30, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how much fun you get out of this game. Ryan117 Smith says, Dear Passengers looks fun. Nistatois says, Phasmo does not have any on-purpose jank that I saw. Okay.
Yeah, I think Phasmophobia is actually doing the best it can, legitimately.
Okay.
And it just took them a long time to get there.
Okay.
It is, to be fair, now a very different game than what I played in early access like years ago. Mm-hmm. They've come a long way.
Okay.
I don't know if this one will be given the life span that Phasmophobia has had, though.
Well, we have room for one more topic in today's show, and we're going to move on to discuss a brand new Resident Evil remake. Matt, your dreams are coming true. Dusk Golem, who is one of the more reliable leakers of Japanese studio stuff, he's been wrong once or twice. I just want to get that out there. He does not have a peerless track record, but he has nailed crazy stuff. Like, he nailed the remasters of Resident Evil 2 and 3. He's probably 80 to 85% accurate. And he is claiming that a remake of the first Resident Evil is on the way. A remake of Resident Evil 1 is coming.
That's kind of the only thing they have left to do.
Well, they have Resident Evil 0.
Yeah.
So he actually addressed that as well when he shared this information. He said that actually the next remake to come out will be Resident Evil 0. Mm-hmm. That this has just gone into pre-production, or went into pre-production last year.
To some degree, it makes sense that this would be your last remake.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's putting that last puzzle piece in place. If it's 0, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. If it's the first game, everyone cares.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, obviously it was the first one that they remade way back in the GameCube era. Mm-hmm. They made the what do they call it, remake, R-remake back in the day. Which, Matt, you're not a fan of that.
No, I don't like that game at all.
Yeah.
I hate pre-rendered backgrounds. I hate tank
fixed
controls.
Camera angles, tank
controls.
controls.
I hate all that.
Yeah.
And I think it's terrible in that game. Like, worse than the original.
Really?
I think in the sense that, like, it makes no sense, the angles you're in, and the fact that everything looks really pasted onto those pre-rendered backgrounds in a way that they do in the original, because obviously the polygon, but it's like you didn't make it any better, really. And I think the forced camera angles, just like the Crimson heads, make it even worse, because like you don't have the time to react to anything because you can't see what the character
can't see
can
them coming.
see.
Yeah.
Like it's all just artificial, and I always hated it.
I agree with a lot of your criticisms. I still think it's better than the OG RE1 though.
I prefer the OG one because the OG one is a little more controlled and easy to sort of get around the systems on. Mm-hmm. I still think they both are borderline unplayable today. And I think pre-rendered backgrounds should be left in the dust of history and never be looked at ever again.
Well, I don't think the remake is going to have pre-rendered backgrounds.
No.
I think he said, in fact,
they were a technological workaround with the best we could do at the time, and there is zero reason for them to exist now other than nostalgia, and I have zero nostalgia for them, so never, never, never again.
Yeah, Dusk Golem said this is going to be full up remake, ground
like all
up,
the other ones.
just like 2 and 3.
That's exactly what I want.
Yep. So he said that it entered full production last year, and that basically it will go into full production once Resident Evil Veronica is complete.
Yeah, so probably February 2028.
When it comes out.
Yeah,
that's what it's looking like. He also shared that the remake of Resident Evil 0 entered full production in late 2022.
Wow.
And he said the Capcom is potentially positioning it.
Took a long time to make that one good, I guess.
Yeah. And he said that basically it's going to be the next remake after Veronica. Mm-hmm. So Veronica comes out early next year.
So maybe Resident Evil 1 is 2029.
9, yeah. So they have one every year, basically, which makes sense.
You get a Resident Evil every February, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Would you be excited to play this again in that new RE2, RE3 remake style?
Absolutely. I'd rather have that than Code Veronica or Zero, but that's probably why it's the last one.
Right. Now, as far as the plot is concerned and all that kind of stuff, where would you place RE1 in the pantheon of Resident Evil?
At the bottom of a fetid well, along with all the other Resident Evils, because the Resident Evil stories are garbage. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're not.
They're all terrible.
Yeah.
I enjoy the characters and I enjoy the cheese of the original game. Obviously.
I mean, I would say the stories in the more recent games are better.
They do get better, but they're not.
They're not going to win any awards.
Good. Yeah. They're what they need to be, more or less. And as they try to kind of navigate the increasing swamp that the Resident Evil lore has become over the years. It's because there's that period where 2 and 3 where it's what is this, plants walking around? The lack of care in terms of what viruses can actually do was very comedic in the early days, and they just sort of we want this thing to be this, and who cares? Biohazard just sort of covered a whole lot of things all at once, and that was fine. And then Resident Evil 4 kind of changed how you came at that, and it kind of brought in a little bit of space aliens. And maybe the T-virus origin is in space. We don't know. I'm waiting for them to go to space in one of these games.
I will say this: it is kind of cool, some of the stuff the tricks that they use in this remake. When they're standing in that one room, they still had the reflections of them on the floor, and they were pretty clever with how they did this before they figured out what they should be doing, which is just making it 3D.
Well, I don't think they could have done it full 3D.
You can see the shadows on the floor there.
I don't think they could have made it full 3D at this time, not with the GameCube. I mean, I think
probably not.
They made, again, pre-rendered backgrounns are technological limitations, and they still had those technological...
Code Veronica was all 3D.
Right, but Code Veronica 3D wasn't doing anything of this level of fidelity.
No.
There were not reflections in the floor in Code Veronica.
No, definitely not.
So if this was the look they wanted, which was probably what they, if you wanted to make it look different from Code Veronica, this is kind of what you had to do. So I understand why they made this choice, but I just fucking despise this game. I hate pre-rendered backgrounds, and I hate forced tank controls, and I hate forced camera angles like that, and that's one of the reasons I jumped to Silent Hill immediately. Was that Silent Hill it didn't have free camera, but it had 3D camera, and they had 3D graphics, and you were not locked into these random... I hate pointing my gun off the side of the screen.
Yeah, me too. It's stupid.
And
shooting
up,
where you
down,
can't see.
Up. Why can't you just aim at the fucking zombie? You fucking...
I hear you.
So Resident Evil 4 was a revelation.
Yeah, it was.
It was oh, right.
I mean,
it
was needed. It had to be. Because at that point, you could see, even Capcom was flailing, trying to figure out what to do with it at that point.
I don't...
Shinji Megami to the rescue.
To kind of tie in with what you said about the jank thing, I do not believe in the whole it controls badly so that's why it's scary thing. No, it's just fucking stupid. It's I don't get scared when the controls don't work right, so I don't shoot a zombie properly. I just get fucking mad.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Also, fucking punch it. In real life, are you going to sit there? No, fucking kick the thing.
Or you're going to use the butt end of the gun.
Anything. Grab a fucking chair. Do something.
Yep.
That's why I like Leon, because he fucking suplexes shit when he has to.
Roundhouse kicks it. Yep. Dave Zero says pre-rendered backgrounds are going to make a comeback. You'd lose your shit.
No, you'd just be talking about those games on your own.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that shit. I'm certainly not giving you any money for it.
Yeah. To his point, there are a bunch of indie games that are going back and doing that now.
Yeah, well, that won't last too long, because those games suck.
Yeah, it's true.
It's sort of like how long that fucking we're going to make intentionally janky polygon games that look like PS1 games. How long did that last? A year?
Yeah.
Because nobody likes that.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, there you go. Resident Evil 1 Remake is on the way. Probably not till 2029-ish. Sounds about right.
We'll be playing it before Elder Scrolls 6.
That's
the important part.
And we just talked about Elder Scrolls 6. So.
I mean, that'll be a fun for all you streamers out there. That'll be a fun thing to burn through. Do a whole Resident Evil playthrough, 0 all the way through 9.
Yeah.
There's your charity stream.
Yep.
Just Resident Evil, all the games, all the remakes in story order.
That's not easy.
No.
You're going to think about that one. Yep. All right. Well, that
Good
brings...
luck on Dead Aim, boys. Yeah, it's time to now they're done to remaking that shit.
Right. That's all that's left now.
Remaking Dead Aim, remaking...
What are they going to do when they're out of RE games to remake? I mean, they've been relying on that for revenue for a long time. Like, big-time revenue.
Well, by then it'll probably be time to start remake. They got to remake 5 and 6, and then they can remake 7 and 8.
You're right, actually. Yep. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of GameFace episode 489, which means, of course, there's just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune brought to you by Soundwizardry.com, the wizards of audio.
They cook the sound until it's golden brown.
That's their tagline. We cook the sound till it's golden brown. Anyway, they will cook your sound until it's more than golden brown. They'll cook it until it's gold. They are awesome no matter what kind of projects you're working on. If you're working on a video game, that is their wheelhouse. Obviously, they'd prefer to work on games, but they can take work in just about anything. Film, TV, podcasts, any kind of audio, they can make it better. Go to soundwizardry.com. I love those people. I love Glenn. I hope one day I get to meet Glenn. I really do. That is one of my goals, and one of the things that have come out of working on Sifted is meeting awesome people like Glenn and hoping that one day I can meet them in person. Go to soundwizardry.com for all your audio needs. And like I said, Glenn, great person, great company. He sponsors this awesome thing we play called Name That Game Tune. I play 5 audio samples from a game. You try to guess the name of it before this guy over here and before everybody else. This year you're competing against everybody. You can keep playing. If you win, you can just keep playing. Whoever has the most wins before the year is up will be crowned the champion of 2026. All right, let me bring up the interface. YouTube people, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chats. Christian, thank you for the $50 super chat, man. I think that may be our biggest super chat we've ever had. Hope you have a great day at work. Thank you so much for your generosity. But if you want to play Name That Game Tune, you do have to jump over to Twitch. Thanks again to our YouTube crew. And I got the interface up. Let me bring up the sound bank and turn up Matt's headphones. You good?
Yeah.
And let me bring up the sound bank. Just a second. All right. Matt, are you ready to play Name That Game Tune?
Mm-hmm.
Are you people ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here's the first sample in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for Twitch Prime, not Cirque. Thank you for Twitch Prime, Mike's Q. Appreciate you, brothers. Any guesses on that first sample? The Jazz Jackrabbit, that would be very clever of me, but Swanland, I'm not that smart, sadly. It's not it. Silent Hill 1, no. Castlevania 4, no. Gran Turismo, no. 2 Gran Turismos, no. Chrono Trigger, no. Prey, no. Viva Pinata, that's not it.
Mischief Makers?
Yes! You got it! Okay. That is freaking amazing, Matt. Yes, it is Mischief Makers. Wow! That's one of your most impressive ones ever, Matt.
Shake, shake.
Here's the thing. I didn't even put Shake, Shake in this.
That would be too much of a giveaway.
It was too easy. Yeah. I didn't put it in because I was like, that'll give it away. But Matt, how did you get that off the menu sounds?
I don't know. Just sometimes those things just click into some memory somewhere.
Well, I think what it was Gran Turismo, because it is very similar to the menu sounds in Gran Turismo. It is
similar to Gran Turismo. I doubted myself for a second when they said that, but then you said no.
Yeah, and I think that might have tipped you off.
Well, that's why I didn't say it yet. I'm like, oh, maybe it is Gran Turismo.
Yeah. Well, here's the rest of the sample, so you know the game was legit. Here's the second one. I already turned down your headphones, unfortunately. Here's the third one.
Yahoo!
Here's the fourth one. And here's the last one. Great job, man. That's impressive, brother.
Also, something in that made my brain go treasure.
Yeah. Interesting. Because the other thing too is like
because the first thing I saw when you played it was Gunstar Heroes.
Oh.
And I knew it wasn't that because the audio quality is too good to be Genesis.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the N64 is like it doesn't have a sound. Like I can't listen to an N64 game and be like, "That's an N64 game," like you can with Genesis or Super Nintendo.
You can sometimes hear the compression. And like if you tell me it's from that, if you tell me it's from that era and you play that song, play the sound, I might know it's N64 because it doesn't sound as crisp as what a CD would.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're right. There is no N64 sound.
Yeah.
Specifically.
That's great. Impressive, man. Hand it to our boy here, Matt Keil. That was an impressive win right there. That's all I got to say about that. Don Lionheart is like, what the heck is Mischief Makers? He doesn't even know what the game is.
It's an N64 treasure game that
2D platformer.
2D, which I don't know. You either know it or you don't, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it is on the NSO catalog. The NSO catalog is not very.
It's not on there.
It's not very robust right now. But they should put it on there because it's
one of the best games for N64.
It's very good. Yeah. I think you really need Mischief Makers and Body Harvest on that thing.
Yeah.
I would say that would be up there with Buck Bumble. Which is a terrible game, but it has one of the best title screen themes of the entire generation.
I don't remember it.
Go load up Buck Bumble's title screen theme and be like, this is a banger.
All right.
The rest of the game is not a banger.
But
that title screen is pretty fucking good.
Don Lionheart, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. Appreciate that. I'll make sure there aren't any last people who got in there with that. Oh, there is. ZX Reyes, thank you for Twitch Prime. See if there's any others here. Nope, I think that's it. Yep, that's it. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for showing up for the live edition of GameFace, episode 489 at twitch.tv/SiftedGames and youtube.com/SiftedGames. We're here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join in and have a bunch of fun with us on a Tuesday afternoon, that would be sweet. Just a reminder that if you want to support us, please head over to patreon.com/sifted, SIFTD. For just $5 a month, you get all our content early. You get this show 3 days early, Pactor Factor a week early. If you don't have any real money, but you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, help us out with Twitch Prime. We talk about it on the show all the time. You can give us a free $2.50 every stinking month. If you're watching on YouTube, go down below for step-by-step instructions to connect your accounts. That takes about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. Once you've connected those two accounts, your Twitch and Amazon Prime accounts, then it's just 3 clicks to give us $2.50 every single month, and you do have to redo it every month. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but we really appreciate it. We really rely on that money. And if you can't do that, you can still help us out. Just like the show right now. Hit the like button. That'd be sweet. Share it on social media. Review the show on YouTube. Review the show on a podcast. Any of that stuff. It all matters. Share the show on social media. That might be the best thing you can do, honestly, is just go on Twitter and just blast out, this is the best gaming podcast. If you're not watching it, you're an idiot. Or whatever. That is really, I think, the thing that could help us really grow our show. Telling other people that trust your opinion that they should trust this show. We'd appreciate that very much. So, let's see. Next week is going to be a pretty good episode. We have Halo campaign Evolved.
You'll have Halo.
You're not going to play it?
It's not out in time.
Really?
No. Unless there's an early access thing I don't know about.
Oh, I think there is actually, but I'm not gonna pay for it. But at the very least, we'll definitely have Splatoon Raiders, which is getting crazy high review scores. I'm really surprised at that, but it is what it is. We'll see if we agree.
Yeah, Halo's the 28th.
Is it?
Yeah.
And what's the date today?
Like the 20th?
21st. So it's. I think it.
That's a week from today. So
yeah.
It will be out that
the night before.
No, that night, like Tuesday
night. That night. Okay. I'll see if I can.
Like
drum up some review code.
Like 5 hours after the show ends.
Well, the other thing too is that it only takes like 5 hours to play the game.
Or maybe in the morning. Like some of this stuff's been hitting like Pacific time.
Oh, really?
Like 6 a.m. Like it's hard to know when things come out anymore. It used to just be reliably 9 p.m. Friday nights or whatever, and like or Thursday nights, and now.
Then there's the New Zealand trick and all that other stuff. Yeah. Well, bottom line is, no matter what, I promise you we're gonna have an awesome show for you guys next week, because that's what we do with GameFace. Every week we have an awesome show. So. Hopefully we can get Halo in. If not, I'm sure we'll have other awesome stuff to take its place. So everybody, have yourselves a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.